Yeah. Well, your woman told you back or what told you by you told I know that you're moving when they come later. I'm really long shit.
The way I was really told you without equal, but
you're
going to an animal state.
You're going where?
Maleka to an animal state.
That's a good year. Because me, I said so, man. And my cousin in America, he had her Doma festival. So she said, when they put a corona for the festival, when they go there, they must carry things, you know, for the children then. So I was saying to myself, oh, my boss for them. I want to remember the one that now you know one year.
And they say you must carry so that water I can eat food. That's why I carry the water that lasts.
You know what I mean? We on the roof. You can pack anything and no more than you. You're full of things that let me explain to you. The woman called me, I was saying, woman, I want to go to you. The woman called me, over and to me already. Dating your tour, that you. Markan will be having, they get someone trying to call the hard table festival, Doma festival. The hard table Doma festival. They can have it every year in Myean, America. They can have it every year. So she said she's having it in America. All the people that will be going there, because the other festival is special. They will be celebrating the 5th year. Because I say 5 years now, they celebrate. So the year back, they want to celebrate it. So everybody that will be going there to that Doma festival. They're talking about people that we in America. They're talking about you are here in abroad. But if I get a visa to go to America. So they go there who in America. They go there in America. They don't want to carry all those small things to carry the work. They carry it to her for her to use it because she's going to come to Liberia to have the same program here. Now when she's having it here now, all the children are going back, all the children will be people. So when you get in the copy book, you carry Torgbean, you carry children clothes, children shoes, you know, small more thing than what children can use. You carry that, you will pack everything and play like bro. She share it on the children then. And you share it free. She will share it free. No, she will share it free. She said no. She had it all for carry to her free. That she will go, she will carry like bro. She do all the things. She share it free on the children like bro. She won't help children. She also say you must pack your thing and go carry it. You must carry it.
When I do the participation too.
I know.
So other that we buy in animal state they will be doing it.
The thing it will be happening in Maryland, in America. So Black Hill Regional Park. That will be happening here. You know, where about we don't get and they call it country cook. But the American people, they just change the name now. You know, yeah. So that one body can call it hard table festival. Yeah.
So when you were
Yeah. So my people that ate there, you're here in America, you're listening to it good. Yeah. The other thing I want to know, now what is it? The date is August 9. Actually having the hard table festival. Yeah, August 9. Right after my birthday. Yeah. Markan will be having her Doma festival. And in that Doma festival, and then everybody that going there, you're please everything to donate to so that you can come and donate to the children of Liberia. Big year. But they can't in Liberia. Now we have to share things. They will put the children in the boat, they go for boat ride. Small children they put in, they will take boat ride. They've been doing boat ride, they share the thing on there, that the children will enjoy. I praise them from the test small again.
Yeah, this is the 5 year Doma festival. So we encourage you to kill.
So that yeah. So that go back home now. You carry that thing back home. Yeah. What you do? I don't know. Well, your woman told him back or what you buy you told I know that you're moving when they come there. I'm really long shit.
The way I was really told you without equal, but
you're
told it in animal state.
You're going where?
Oh, Maleka to in animal state.
That's a good year. Because me, I said to man, and my cousin in America, he had her Doma festival. So she said, when they put a corona for the festival, when they go in there, they must carry things, for the children then. So I was said to myself, oh, my boss, then I want to remember the watch that you know, you don't watch it.
And they say you must carry so that water I can afford. That's why I carry the water that lasts.
You know what I mean? We on the roof. You can pack nothing and no more anymore. You're full of things that let me explain to you. They won't call me ever say, oh, but I want to go and do you. They won't call me over and explain to me already. Dating your tour, that you. Marka will be having, they get someone and they call it hard table festival, Domo festival. The hard table Domo festival. They can have it every year in Maryland, America. They can have it every year. So she said she's having it in America. All the people that will be going there, because the other festival is special. They will be celebrating the 5th year. Because in I say 5 years now, they celebrate. So the year pa, they won't celebrate it. So everybody that will be going there to that Domo festival. They're talking about people that we in America. They're talking about you all are here in abroad. But if I don't get a visa to go to America. So they do them who in America. They put them in America. They don't want to carry all those small to carry the work. They carry it to her for sale of use because she's going to come to Liberia to have the same program here. Now when she's having it here now, all the children that you invite, all the children will the people. So when you get in the coffee book, you carry both there, you carry children clothes, children shoes, you know, small more thing than what children can use. You carry, then she will pack everything and bring it like bro. She share it on the children there. And you share it free. She will share it free. No, she will share it free. She said no. She had the other one carry it to her free. That she will carry it like bro. She do all the things. She share it free on the children like bro. She won't help children. She also say you must pack your thing and go carry it.
The participation too. So other that we buy in animal state will be doing it.
The thing it will be happening in Maryland, in America. So Black Hill Regional Park. That will be happening here. You know, way back we get and they call it country cook. But the American people, they just change the name now. You know, so that one body can call it hard table festival. Yeah.
So what do you want?
Yeah.
So my people that ate there, you're here in America, you're listening to it good.
Now, what is it? The date is August 9. They're having the hard table festival. August 9.
Marka will be having her Doma festival. And in that Doma festival, and then everybody that going there, you're please everything to donate to what so that you can come and donate to the children of Liberia. Big yo.
When they come in Liberia, now where those share things, they will put the children in the boat, they go for boat ride. Small children, they put in, they will take boat ride. They've been doing boat ride, they share the thing on there, that the children will enjoy. I praise them for me to tell small again.
Yes, the 5 year drama festival. So we encourage you to keep.
So that so that go back home now. You carry that thing back home.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is 5:19 here in the beautiful state of Florida. It is 89 degrees outside, and it is beautiful. And I want to say congratulations to the Florida Panthers for winning the championship, the World Championship for hockey. The state of Florida is all about sports. We have the hockey championship. Then we have the World Club were going on in Miami, where all this top team from around the world, 34 teams from around the world are meeting here in Miami, where it is all about soccer. The whole world is here. South America, Central America, North America, parts of Europe, everybody is here. The state of Florida is full. Great things happening, great thing. Are you doing that, Myean? How's Monrovia to you?
I'm doing great, and you and Moreover is doing good. It's just like we are facing some weather issue where we are experiencing some thunder. But howbeit the weather is still cool. We still observing the weather in the meantime here. But for my end here in Painesville, we are good, and everything is going on fine.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, at some point, it will go offline or the radio goes off. That's the reason. They got technical issues out there. And when it's raining and thundering, sometimes it's good to turn the station off so you can save the transformer. That's what it is. Sometimes the thunder, the storm is so strong that if you keep the transformer on, the electricity on, it burns the transformer, and it's very, very expensive. It is very, very expensive to recoup. Sometimes you have to buy a new one. Most time it cannot be repaired. So if we are talking in the middle of the program and we go off radio in Liberia, that's the reason. As you know, when you are on the telephone, lately, when you are talking to folks, you got issues with network. And that's what happens when you have a problem with the network. It all depends on the weather. So if we go off, that's what it is. But usually, last night, they allow us to go almost an hour and a half before we started having some serious weather problem in Liberia. But so far, so good. In the United States, we are having some issues. The president of the United States is having problem with the African people in particular. But today, my newspaper of choice in Liberia is the Liberia Investigator. The Liberia Investigator, Mr. Leonard Dudu, is the CEO over there, and they're doing a great job. And some of the issues we're going to be covering straight from the top of the newspaper there. Boycott forms emergency task force as U.S. threatening travel ban. That's the headline from the Liberia Investigator. It also has the House of Representatives is to grill Metal Steel over the railroad takeover. And then, according to UNICEF, half of Liberia children are out of school. That's terrible. And then, key capital arson suspect arrested, claiming he was tempted to accept bribe, and he exposed them, and all of a sudden he's under arrest. So these are the top headlines in the Liberian Investigator. And I will go over to front page Africa. Let me go to the county section. We'll be looking at Maryland County launches first ever audit of school to boost transparency and accountability. And then it's not all bad. We got Coda Lab Chicken opens modern poultry processing facility in Painesville. And then we're going to go to small-scale miner busted for illegal use of excavator in Grand Jita. Those are the topics we are going to be discussing in addition to some national issue. As always, we are open to breaking news. When there's breaking news, we always stop and bring it in and get you up to date on issues happening in Liberia around the world. If you are joining us, please put your comment section. If you want to challenge Mr. Pewee, listen, this is no holds bar. He's ready. He's ready. He's a fighter. So bring it on. If you want to challenge me on any issue, no problem. This is where you come. The closing argument, we're not going behind the house. We coming right here in the open, right, Mr. Pewee?
Absolutely.
If Mr. Pewee is here with stats, he and Gongloe, they believe in statistics and accuracy of the news. So if he says anything that you disagree with, debunk his fact with your facts. Don't tell me, oh, you got your facts from Front Page or you got it from Daily Observer. Debunk his attack with his stats with your stats. That's how you do it. When you are arguing, that's what you do. You debunk. You don't just criticize, you debunk. So we are here. Mr. Myean, talk to us about what's the trending issue on the ground. I see you see Mr. Masare here. Masare, it's my first time seeing you. How you doing, young man?
But he just coming in. Oh, why be your internet not stable? He just coming in out, coming in out.
No, so I was trying to settle the light issues. I have a different light in my room, so I was changing the light.
Oh, I thought the Lone Star orange internet on you come on today.
I know, I'm using it.
Okay.
So
welcome, Chief.
Welcome, Chief. Let's go to major news trending. Let's look at the trending issues in Liberia. Myean and Masare. Let's start with Mr. Myean. Mr. Torgbean, tell us what's going on. What's trending?
Okay, so the main issue here we've been following since today is this issue on the National Identification Registry ID card, which we call the NIR ID card, where most citizens are expressing mixed view on it because over the past days since the president the executive order about this ID card that before you can get money from a bank, you need to get the national ID card. Whether you want to get a SIM card or whatever, you have to get the national ID card. So with this, people been trying to get the ID card since the order was released up to date. People trying to get the ID card, but unfortunately, people been going to the center, but they cannot get an ID card over the past time. So people are expressing mixed view on this because you cannot say you putting your order out where people in the look at the population before you can come up with a specific method, because you come out that people should go to certain place to go get a citizen ID card. People sending money to people through banks, through favor me, and then you are saying that only that national ID card you can get before you can get the money. And now for you to get a national ID card is where the problem coming from, because you cannot spend your money to go get the ID card. If you go there, they will ask you to buy a form. To fill in that form again, you have to stand on a long queue, and then you have to wait. Maybe if they open if you go there by 6 in the morning, if you're not lucky to be on that queue, you might be there up to 3. By 3 o'clock, if they close, you have to come the next day again. So if you come the next day, you have to stay on another line, like a new line. You are not going to be taken down to say, oh yeah, the person was here yesterday, so we have to take the person in and no. So these are things that people are expressing a mixed view. Like today, we saw so many views from the House of Representatives down the House of Senate. They are trying to read the president so that he can be able to help people in that process, so that he can be able to maybe drop some charges. Like maybe they can be able to add the time up so that people can be able to get the ID card. Because if you go to the bank, if you don't have the ID card, you cannot be able to withdraw money. Or if you go to mobile money, or if you want to register single or something having the single, you cannot be able to get that single up quick, because you have to get a citizen ID card first. Because if you carry a passport, even passport is not allowed. Just imagine, if you carry a passport, you will not be allowed except the citizen ID card. And to get the ID card is where the problem coming from, because people who are in Nima, they only have 1 or 2 centers in Nima. Just look at the population within Nima. So if you see it like that, the population within Nima, you only have 1 or 2 polling centers where people can go and get the ID card. So just imagine how terrible it is. So we will also look at that. And also yesterday we discussed on the where Mr. Pewee brought it out for CSA, Josiah Joga, and today again, people been carrying this information between him and the labor minister about this Chinese national, or let's say the foreigner who are working within the government. And according to the labor minister yesterday, when he had a press conference, that is not the duty or responsibility of the CSA boss to go ahead publishing or giving the House of Senate that record. It's not a duty. So based on that, people are expressing may view that maybe people from the Unity Party government want to go against them from the MDR. So people been having series of thoughts on that. So with the government issues, people been saying a lot of things on it, and some of those who are from that sector, they are telling CSA boss that it's not his duty, it's not his responsibility to go at the Senate carry on report that is not true, that is not factual to the people. So he have a responsibility rather to go after people who are on payroll, checking where there are some ghost names or some responsibility that he need to do. He's not doing it. So based on that, people are coming back and forth with him. So Mr. Pewee, I'll leave it up to Sansi will get more detail about what happened from Liberia.
Okay. Before something, exactly what I said yesterday about what the CSA chief said. We'll get to that again a little bit when something is done. But again, given that's a fight. They got certain government officials that love grandstanding, and Josiah Joker is just looking for the opportunity to behave like he's doing, and he's doing nothing. He just want to run around the place like a call-a-head chicken. They do some analysis that is far from the reality. You're not the labor minister. Why will you come and give misleading information about what is unfolding at a particular private company, and even hitting the president in the foot? Because the president, he says something totally contrary from what the president said and what the Ministry of Labor is saying to us. But Masari, go ahead. We're going to have more time to do this. He's just trying to undermine the very government that he's pretending to promote.
Yep, and one is in charge of civil servant, like government employees, and one is in charge of the whole country or the private sector.
Both the private sector, Labor Ministry, both the private sector and the government.
Overall, he's the guy overall.
Yeah, labor practices and other things.
The guy who is like he won't be your deputy. He will be an assistant because he way down there. An assistant coming to override the proper. That's why it looks like that. But Masare, what's happening on the ground, young man? Hey.
Okay. All right. I'm louder.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I don't know whether the information is up there already. We already got our accreditation at the executive mansion to be covering the president city activity.
Okay.
That accreditation was served by the presidential press secretary through an official communication served to the PCA. And we sorry that we have not posted yet, but it was given sent June the 3rd for us to be covering the president in his city activity henceforth until next year June. So we henceforth now will be on top of our game as it relates to the executive mansion. So today the Oyson case, the capital building fire case, continues as one of the suspects, according to the Liberia National Police and the court, was caught down from Ghana. According to them, he escaped, and they later used Interpol security to track him down, and he was brought today to the Monrovia City Court, where he was later transferred to the Criminal Court A, and subsequently, because I think his legal team was behind time in securing a bond for him, so he was filed to Sobish. But then it was like a dramatic scene there. A young man, according to him, said that the government of Liberia, the only reason they are behind him and want to jail him is because they reached out to him to serve as a state witness in the ongoing Fonati Kofa, Abu Bana Kamara, and Desi Weabi Sipo case against the issue of the government. He also said that the government choose some top official and NFA officer were initially proposing to him that they wanted to give him $200,000 if he can testify in a government favor that yes, indeed, Fonantikova, former Speaker Fonantikova, were using as the central person to have that fire incident occurring at the Capitol building. And also today, we also saw the how they call it, the president. Today, the president also established a joint team at the mansion. He had a very strategic meeting where he's the co-chair for that thing, and that thing will be responsible to regulate. That you mind were making some pronouncement on that national citizen ID card. So the president, along with the foreign affairs minister, labor minister, and the police director, are on that committee to make sure that our passport, both our passport and national identification ID card, is strongly regulated. That we will not have foreigner or other people passing through and just using it to as Liberian citizens. And to conclude, we also saw the House of Representatives and the Senate into a very heated debate as it relates to a supplemental contract renewal. Some are saying that a supplemental does not deserve contract renewal, that they should audit a supplemental, like, to make reference, Honorable Spencer Foucault make a request to the House of Representatives to audit the previous agreement that was signed between the government of Liberia and Solomenta before the government of Liberia can go into another agreement with Solomenta. And it was heated, and we saw Honorable Yan Twine from Nima County, Senator Yan Twine from Nima County, said one leading that charge that Solomenta should not be given second chance. And we also saw Solomenta coming on with a strong rebuttal when CSA boss Josiah Chokan said that Solomenta is receiving, Solomenta have 2,000 Indians working. Solomenta clarified that statement. They said, according to them, they said that their total number of foreign nationals that are working is 1,200 instead of 2,000 and 3,000 Indians. They said both Ghanaian, Nigerian, Sierra Leonean, and Indians are, when you combine them, they are around 1,200, and the total number of Liberians who are working at Asometa is around 7,000. So they make that clarification, saying that the CSA director, Josiah Chokat, made a mistake. He did not do fact farming before he could come up with that report.
Wow. Welcome, Mr. Namwe.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Jerome. What's up to you guys? What's up to the audience as well? Thanks for joining us. As always, help us share the show. Invite a friend.
Honorable Namwe, I think this is your first time meeting Mr. Samson Masare. I may be wrong, but it's my first time interacting with him.
Actually,
No.
Samson and I will interact in person. Go ahead, Samson. Tell them.
Yeah, he and myself were together. I think for 2 days, I attended that, they had administrative complex and another program breaking ceremony they had at Garguah. He's a good man.
Indeed, Samson is a nice gentleman. Yeah, he's very, very punctual. He's very committed to his work. He was asked by the network to help cover the YOLA program in Liberia towards the end of April. And so when I got in town, I made contact. And actually, he was reminding me of some of the scheduled activities. So absolutely. Samson, it's good to see you, man. Hope all is well.
Sure.
Well, before we go into our topics, we were going to the ID card. But before we go into it, the caveat was yesterday, we were talking about, in America, we call it program rollout. I'm hoping that Pewee is listening. When we talk about program rollout, that means the government or the agency that is doing the rollout is prepared. They have everything set and ready to go. We are saying this to say, yesterday we talked about the yellow machines. The yellow machines, we are hearing the vice president is in China. So the question here is, are they ready for a rollout? The rollout should include how are these machines getting to Liberia? How are they going to be distributed? How are they going to be stored? How are they going to be serviced? Who's in charge in all 15 counties? We have not seen that. I'm saying this to say we're coming to the ID card. But before a president makes a presidential pronouncement, like the ID card, you think they would have had it set up for the rollout. But because they are not prepared, they are caught off guard. They have fuel stations with thousands. Now it's going to be millions of people coming because you have the cities. We say the census says the population of Liberia is 5 million, and you want everybody to have an ID card. So you better be prepared for 5 million ID cards. The president, Liberia, the government was not prepared, and this is what's happening here. When you're ready for a rollout, this is a serious planning and execution. So we are coming down, but let's go to the first topic here, Pewee. WACA forms an emergency task force, and it says here, WACA forms emergency task force as U.S. threatening travel bans. And today our newspaper or choice will be the Liberian Investigator, and it reads, published June 18, 2025. President Joseph Yuma Boyka has set up an emergency presidential task force in a direct response to warnings from the United States that Liberia could face a travel ban over soaring visa overstay and security failures. The move comes in the wake of a classified U.S. State Department memo reported by the Washington Post listing Liberia among 36 countries at risk of being hit with expanded travel restrictions. The memo cited Liberia's alarming visa overstay rate and weakened identification system as key reasons behind the proposed ban, reviving elements of controversial Trump-era policy. To prevent Liberia from being blacklisted, President Boyka is personally chairing the newly formed task force, with Foreign Affairs Minister Sarah Beslow co-chair. Other members include Minister of Justice, Minister of Health, Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, the Liberian National Police, the Office of the National Security Advisor, and the National Security Agency. Now, this is what really got my attention. It says here, the threat of the travel ban comes amid mounting U.S. concern over visa compliance. According to the June 2024 report from the State Department and Homeland Security, nearly half, 49.48%, 49.48% of Liberians issue B1 and B2 visas, visitor visas, in the fiscal year 2020 failed to return home after the authorized stay. For student visa holders, the outstay rate is 29.95%, and the overall non-return rate across all visa categories reached 82.3%. Mr. Pewee, they say Liberia is among the highest in the world, 82.03%, 82% of people entering the United States from Liberia do not return or return on time. This is unbelievable. They are saying only 17% of Liberians that come to the United States return or return on time. Only 17%, 83%.
Yeah.
This is serious.
It is quite alarming. Before I can move to it, let me just pivot for a few seconds and ask you, Mr. Gibbon, because you've been around long, you thought I was senior, or Monsignor rather. When did you come here?
1980, right after the coup.
You came. How did you come here?
I came, sponsored by the AME Church, and I came to go to the University of New Jersey.
Okay, good. You know, so I mean, it is actually a good thing the president did to do something, to set up a special committee to work into these things, and I think we can improve as a country. But one of the ways to go about it also, the president, because the fact that you will set up those kind of a task force, or if you will, he says the president himself is chairing it, is a good development. And another thing we could do is to also strengthen the passport, because the intent of those during the sanction process and other thing is based on weak travel dossier, like the passport and what you mentioned also. But one of the ways we could go about doing it is to strengthen a lot of areas also. Work towards creating a lot of opportunities for Liberians. One, working also to as I said, so the major thing is to strengthen our books and create the kind of ambience that Liberian would require, and the system that will be open up for every Liberians to have opportunity that will tap in back in the country and the rest of that. But that you will have moved to reducing some of these things. But the numbers are very alarming, to be very frank with you. But it's a system that you will push across the African basin that those things are unfolding. But what we have to do first, one of the action the president moved to do is to set the committee and the rest of that. It's an important development that we as a people can work towards improving on it, and then we can be in the good graces of the United States. Remember, Liberia and America got a very powerful traditional relationship. America have got our back for decades, many decades. Our relationship struck back to more than almost 100 years.
Two centuries since 1822.
Yeah, we had a very wonderful relationship that has subsisted. Subsisted for those amount of years, those amount of decades, right? And beyond that process, also about the relationship issue, America being there for us. There have been no country that have contributed towards Liberian development, the protection of Liberia. No country that you compare to what this America have done for Liberia. So that's why President Sirleaf, I can recall vividly, described the relationship as our premier traditional partner, and the other things. So they've done a lot more. The last ambassador, before the current ambassador, said that the United States of America spent close to $5 billion from the time things being unfolding on the country. From back in the days during the civil crisis, you remember, America spent a buck of the money that was spent on oil and even ECMO and all those things. And aside from the money that was being pumped into the country by the UC and the rest of that. So yeah, and I also followed the ambassador today. Ambassador Turner is on a countrywide trip. He was in Bond County today, and these are other good developments. So yes, I think we can do more to strengthen it, and I think it was good that we didn't get on the sanction list, so we can do more to work towards easing the tension and working to improving the ambience and the condition back in the country that would allow our people to wanting to stay back in the country.
Mr. Lambe, let's look at the student visa stay rate, which is basically what we call brain drain, right? Liberia sends her best and brightest over here, and they come and then they don't return. They find a way into different employment. They stay in the United States and find a way. This is even more concerning than the regular folks who want to make a living. We talk about professional folks that government sponsor and they come, or other agencies sponsor, they come and they don't return.
Yeah. Look, everybody, all of us, I don't know a person who does not aspire to upward mobility. You want to improve your life. Every one of us.
Absolutely.
I mean, every one of us.
Yeah.
We had Mr. Watkins on the show here, I think earlier this week or last week. You heard what he said. This is a man who was trained by Nokal. They invested in him, sent him to school and everything. When he went back home, they said, we don't need you. They put him down. But I bet they will have people at Nokal right now, some of whom cannot do why they do the job they were employed for. And that is our problem. So yes, when people come here, they come to school, you want to go back home, serve your country. But by the same token, you want a better life. If your country cannot provide you that opportunity, you don't want to go back there. And this is why we're banging our heads against the wall and pushing our government to do better. The conditions back home are horrible. Let's be honest. The conditions back home do not encourage people to want to go back home. We have to do better. Some of the problems with the whole travel ban thing is both logistical, but it's mostly, socioeconomics. I understand logistically we have difficulties, our biometric system, the US is having difficulty interfacing with our biometrics to be able to track the people who are coming in and overstaying. You know, they can electronically track you, just like ICE is doing. They can find you and send you back home. So that is one way they're doing it. But I understand, you know, they're having difficulty with with when we issue our papers. I think the passport. Someone was on the show here the other time, and they were talking about some electronic chip that we are supposed to have that makes the passport readable by Interpol at any port of entry anywhere around the world. I think our chip is very limited. That's my understanding. I don't know the technicalities. But back to the socioeconomics. Jerome, when you go back to Monrovia, you and I will go there. You know, I mean, I went to school. I graduated college in Liberia. You understand me? And I can't even believe that I survived in Liberia that long. Liberia is very challenging. It's very difficult. Living in Liberia is very challenging. I mean, nothing works there practically. Nothing works there when you compare Liberia, just even to Ghana, even to Sierra Leone. So we have to. I'm not putting Liberia there. I love my country. Don't get me wrong. I want to be in Monrovia. I just telling something here. I was in Monrovia in April, and I wanted to go back again this July coming. I want to go back, but when you get in country, it's like you come from day to night. You go to Ghana, you can sit in your apartment and order Uber. I think in Liberia they got one taxi, whatever they call it, $10 flat rate or whatever it is. You know, we don't even have addresses demarcated to take you from one street to the other. We can't do it. We can't do it. We need to do better. So I'm not surprised that people come for studies and they don't want to go back, because when you come and you get educated, you put in a lot of time, you know, energy, resources. You want to go back home and give back to your country, but you also want a quality of life that is better than where you were before. And when you look right, our people say you look right, you look left, and you don't see it coming, then you say, okay, you know what, let me sit down here. And surprisingly, you know, people come here, they send the money back home, and still, conditions are not getting better. You know, I don't want to be long-winded, but I'm not going to justify overstaying, but I'm just trying to look at it from a logical approach. Most of the people who are overstaying is not that they don't love Liberia or they don't want to go back home to Liberia, but it is because the conditions back home are not, they're not encouraging to want to compel you to go back home.
Mazare, I didn't want you to chime in on this because this affect you directly as a young man. You're in school or you got a qualification, and Liberia is not making the environment, it's not making it enable for you to survive, to make a living. If you were not lucky to maybe hang with one of these companies like Closing Argument, all your talents will be maybe doing cartoon journalism just to survive. All to you, Masari. Your take on the subject.
So the thing is, for me, I don't have personal issue with people who leave the country and come and refuse to come back after the government spend thousands of dollars on them for study. So the truth here is, we live in a political country, highly political, to the point where for you to have a good job, you must bully politicians. And in fact, when you are at the worst point where a government will send you to, example is just in case you were fortunate to go for study under President Weah, some of the course. So here is some of the course that many people can go out of the country and don't want to come back after study. So when you are fortunate to go to study and the government has sent you cannot retain a seat, like example, President Weah send you for study, and then immediately after your study, you have another transition, which is the Bwaka administration coming in. Don't expect that administration to give you job, even if you are qualified and everybody in the government. Don't expect them to give you job. They won't, because they feel that they were not the one who sent you. One, two, you did not support them. So our entire country, for us to have a competitive environment where job creation, where opportunity can be on a merit basis, it means we should have We should do away with that kind of political sentiment. Whether you are qualified or not, you should be given the opportunity to serve based on your political affiliation. So that's what the greater cost of Liberians deciding not to come back to their country, even with their qualification, is because most of them have political alignments. So when you have your political alignment and your political party cannot win a seat or win a presidency, definitely when you come here, you'll be marginalized. Apart from the government have the highest number of employment. And for you to make good money and see enough, for you to secure more wealth for your family, it means you must work in government, because how many companies do we have here? You only have ArcelorMittal, you have Firestone, you have B Martin, and these are all mining companies. Why if, like example, I say the public administration. So in other countries like Ghana, Nigeria, you have entities that runs. Apart from monies, you have microfinance entity, you have other the real estate entities that are running. But in Liberia, we don't have it. So the government the government decides who get job in the country. That's the reason you see marginalization is on a high increase. And like what Chief Victor was saying, Uncle Victor, you are right. The country is hard to the point that even $100 cannot spend 3-4 days in your hand. Yeah, the US rate finally is at $200.
$100
$100 US cannot spend 2-3 days in your hand. An attempt to change it is an attempt to change it.
Sounds right. I mean, so you bring 100 out. I mean,
but you say 3 days. You say 3 days.
Yes. 3 days.
You can. Chief Pewee. So let me just give you my daily cost analysis. When I was living in Garguah, I used to spend like $20 daily for both feedings and transportation to bring me to town and carry me back. So it means I have to live tight, and our living tight was not large. So I have to look for something like La Papido area. Your transportation there is still not clear. Then you have to look for La Papido area, Bali, Tita, and be drinking water in Athena. The country is hard, very hard. So you don't expect me, even if I have the opportunity to go outside to study with a government scholarship, sponsor scholarship, and I'm coming back immediately after my study, I come and see the government and send me for study. Is that the government that comes to
let me give me so there's a point. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say this. Let me tag on to something, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people will bear me out. Usually when I'm going to Africa, I'll go through the regions. Now I go to Lagos and I go to Accra. You go to these two countries. Like you can stretch. You get better service and better quality for the money you spend in Monrovia. You get cheap quality in Monrovia and you pay the most. In the region, Liberia is the most expensive in the region. You do better on the $100 in Lagos or in Accra than you do in Monrovia. And yes, it's my country. I love it, but because of the hardship, everything the prices, to the price, price themselves out. And what he says is right. You go to Monrovia, you break 100, you turn it around, it's gone. You don't know how you spend it, what you spend on it, But the place is expensive, and the compensation, the pay that they pay the people, it's not keeping up with the prices. So the people who are working, and yet they are compelled, to still solicit. You have people around town. Some are working. Some of your friends that come to see you, they don't have money. They don't have gasoline in their own cars. They drive the car, you can't buy the gas.
As
soon as they enter the apartment, the first thing they tell you, my man, I'm hungry, or you get food, I eat about everything, but don't forget, I gotta go home. I need gas. It's just a simple thing. So we have to do better. Our quality of life in Liberia is very, 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 very discouraging. It is below standard. Cost of living is high. People are paid less. Everything is just like on the opposite of what it should be. And this is what governance is for. We're supposed to help the situation. And I'm not saying, government is going to be the, be all and everything. But there's a lot of better things that could be done, and they're not being done. I'll pass it back to you. I don't want to take over.
Okay. Sylvester, if you were in the president's cabinet, right, listen to the young folks and the people like this, what will you be as Joseph Boakai? What if you were in that cabinet kitchen tomorrow when he set up the task force? After listening to the young folks, the young professionals that are now returning on the ground, unemployed professionals on the ground, what would be some of the things you were telling? Besides writing a beautiful script and press release, what would you tell him that should be the solution to some of these things? You are muted.
I would just remind him as a president, I would take him back to his campaign message, where he said he was going to create the opportunities for economic viability in the country for young people. He's saying in the first 90 days or 100 days, if you will, there'll be a lot of opportunity. I would say, Mr. President, what you have to do is to set the stage in the country, that the country will be peaceful, it will be less polarizing. You create the ambience for investors to flow in, and so that investors will have the opportunity to invest and hire competent Liberians. Now, and one thing I will also say to him is that there are certain areas in government, Mr. President, those technical areas, you want to see, you give the opportunity to most of the Liberians, young professionals that are returning, that are out. Now, create this line through your office, preside over this yourself, and you set the stage for many Liberian professional intellectuals that have gone out to study. Say to them that when you come back home, there are certain jobs will be strictly available to you that will directly be supervised by me, the president, to ensure that there's no who know you thing, there's no link of trying to politicize it, to give the job to those that are within his ranks, because within his rank, with the order, then we have their own feelings, their own surrogates that we want to deploy in certain government areas. So those high-profile government areas that do pay some relatively good amount of money, you set the stage to incentivize those, because you have to create the incentive for these people to come back. So you, by incentivizing them, you create the means for people to come back and go and work, because you need to be gainfully employed. And again, as Mr. Nande said, you cannot, for instance, if you want to live in Liberia reasonably, and as a professional, learning, coming from out, having a master's degree or so, you need to live in a very comfortable apartment. And most of those reasonable kind of apartment now in the country, in kind of a good environment, you talk about, I remember, around $250, $300 to $400 a month, if you will. If you don't want to go around the $150, $200, thereabout. Now, you need to have a vehicle, and that vehicle will have to be fuel every day. You have to pay your kids' school fees, and those professionals that want the kids to go to either Puritan or those big town schools around, and the tuition is around there is around $3,000 to $4,000 a year, right? You have to do that. You have to take care of your spouse, and the kids are already called, and other extended family members. So the president will have to push to do that. There are certain areas inside the government, those technical areas. You sit and talk with your finance minister. These are professionals that went out to school. The back. How can we create the incentive for them to allow most of them to come back in the country? I'm not talking directly about those that are on the F1 and J1 visa. That's the student visa, the F1 and J1, because J1 is basically a particular kind of a student visa that is being sponsored by probably international organizations or multilateral institutions. And by that visa, you will have to return to the country and work with those institutions for 2 years. So it's a kind of a high restriction on that visa, the J1 visa. If you went on that, you will have to return. But for the F1, it's one that there's no restriction on that, right? So, and some of the students may want to file for OPT, where they will go through transition there for other companies and the rest of that. But that is not only Liberian students that will have to do that. Even the Chinese, the Indians. That's why you see hundreds of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of both Chinese, Indian students here that will fit in. They will eventually fit into the transition from going to school, because some of them they're extremely good. They will transition now into the process, get a working visa that will be sponsored by those companies, and they will work here, or then eventually pursue citizenship here in this country. But what I would tell the president, that Mr. President, create the condition. Probably talk to Uncle Gayman in Florida, in the Sunshine City, so he can bring some his thought about it. But create it, and this issue should be presided over by you, in your office. Because if the president want to do this thing, and it's good that he's chairing this committee, right? We hope to see what's going to happen. But from the student perspective, that's it. And then another thing is that government will start sponsoring students directly also in most of those international areas. If you do that, then there's an agreement, a written agreement that you have to, and most of the best way to do it is if you want the student to return, from the student perspective, do the sponsorship on J1. Because the sponsorship on J1 got some restriction. It's restrictive, right? That would be the way that you want them to come and work and improve, so that the whole thing about bring something would not, when we would not suffer for that and increase. I would hope to see the president act in said direction, that we can see some improvement. But for the other angle of it, what do you do to incentivize Liberians for also going back? You have to create the opportunity now back in the country. That's not going to be Liberia. It's going to be an all-a situation. All the same. If you research the line, even when the likes of the former ULA people, then are for president, some of them president of Liberia, or most of them came here. Even the former President Eddie Johnson Sirleaf came to school here, stay, and eventually spend time here. So so we have to create the incentive, and that we attract our international intellectuals to come back home, and also our ordinary citizens to come back home. And trust me, so I won't beat on everybody. We all felt in a situation that we cannot. But again, America is a country that we love, and Liberia is a country that we see to be. As a matter of fact, the D of Liberia is right here in America. It's in one of the states. The our D is here, right? Remember, our capital city was named after James Maroon, right? The 5th president of the United States. Remember, it was free slaves. It was free slaves in Nambe that left from here after the whole 18, when Abraham Lincoln, all the people came up, the Emancipation Proclamation process came out. It was the issue about sending people back to establishment. So we got the traditional tag of this country. Liberian love America. But yes, I agree that in loving America, we should not do things to violate or jeopardize the national security of this country that is so powerful and that we so love. So that's
Thank you. Nambe, I'm coming to you, Masare, but real quick here. Honorable Pewee just told me my land that I bought from the Camara over there, they're not the original deal.
No, the D is here.
So I have to go back and tell them, listen, man, where's the mother D? Give me the mother D. Then
But
he will tell me,
legally, who are your first president? Who are your second president? Who is third president?
So she will tell me, but the mother D is in Washington, D.C. Why you come all the way here to ask me?
Exactly.
I can take this. Any Basel man buys land, nobody can take it. Because when the Basel people live on the water, nobody else can live on the water.
Come and get me. Come and get me. Masare, to close on this topic here, the president is chairing this committee to see how to cut down our visa overstay. You are a young professional coming up, about to start your family, your career. What is it you want to hear from President Boakai that will assure you, as a Liberian, that if you went to school, you would be loyal to your country and come back? What would you want to hear? What's some of the guarantee you want from him? You are muted.
All right. So the first thing is, I will be expecting the president to first of all reconcile the country. Two, do away with.
Are you watching another show or something?
There's a feedback. You have to call it. There's a feedback.
Yeah, call it TV off or something. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So the first thing is, I will expect the president to first of all reconcile the country, because the country is first of all heavily divided when it comes to, because of politics. So the president must first of all give guarantee that in calling us back, he should build a country where in job creation and opportunity will be given on a merit basis, not recommendation or political affiliation, because nobody wants to risk their career. You have a family, I can't come to a country and risk my career where to a country that is heavily divided because of politics. First of all, reconcile. I will recommend to him to reconcile. One, two, do away with party alignment. And I know it's difficult. For me, I see that whole committee as a flow show because it's first of all difficult to erase politics totally from all of the country. To reconciliation is possible, but it will cost a lot, which of course I don't believe that this government is prepared to pay that price to reconcile the country. So for me, I just see that whole committee as a flow show. I'm not seeing it possible.
Wow. Only a flow show, Joseph Walker. This is a challenge. Liberians are known for writing flowery speeches, flowery press releases, coming up with this huge, the plan of action. Plan of action and all of that, but nothing else. But let's go to something that someone.
Jeremy, just give me 1 minute, please.
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, I agree with something. I think the president, he thinks about making himself the chairperson of this committee. I think he's trying to portray seriousness, but that's a mistake. This is a president who is being pulled in all directions. How much time is he going to have for this committee? I think that's a mistake. Let me tell you this. The president has been vice president for 12 years. He's been major opposition leader for another 6 years. That's 18 years. He already knows the problem. What does he need a committee for? What does he need a committee for? And we all know what committees mean in Liberia. But let me say this. The problem there, look, the Liberian government employs around, I think, 68,000 people. That's less than 1% of the population. But the budget, we all know how much go to salary. Almost 40% goes to salary. The rest of it go to, benefit. Almost 87% of the money. We're spending all this money on less than 2% of the population. The president knows what to do. He knows exactly what to do. So to say he's setting a committee is to tell me we're still on inside. Yeah, I think the 60 days will come and pass, and we will not know, how to even open the first door to enter the hall to start solving the problem. I think setting up a committee really, I don't know whether that's really going to help us. He knows what the U.S. here, I can tell you, the U.S. spends less than 5% of the budget goes on salary and benefits. Take that, how much we spend on salary and benefits. He knows what the solution is. That's what we need to begin with. I saw the president, Samson here does a wonderful job. Myean, all these guys. I saw the girl who did the narrative reporting. I thought she was reporting for the BBC or something. She did a wonderful job. But I'm sure if you ask that girl now how much is being paid for that compared to how much they get paid here, people who do what she did now, they're talking about millions. How much are we paying her? So we need to we're not serious.
Maybe
$200 is staring us in the face there, and we're putting it aside. We're going to set a committee. Committee will have to have a sitting. The sitting will have to have refreshment, and no amount of money being spent. They have to have sitting fee. They got to write report. They got to find time to report. By the time they do all of that, 60 days will have come and passed. So I think the president needs to rethink his strategy. I'll give it back to Samson.
Yeah, Samson, let's start with this here. Civil Service Agency releases phase 1 of its personnel and credential verification report for 3 government entities with significant irregularities in credential alignment with salaries. This is the CSA. The CSA, Mr. Nyenwolo have started again, but let me start this one with Mr. Pewee. The CSA has released phase 1 of its personnel and credential verification report for 3 entities with significant irregularities and credential alignment with salary. Your take?
Yes, past time. Again, it's what I did doing about it, and what's the report saying? Is the report recommending major decision making in this one? I didn't see the report. I haven't read it, but in terms of salary disparity, it's been there for some time. And if they're working on it hard, they've grown about it. Now, if you had to go in the very current CSA, you will note that they themselves push people, and they push to them salary in there because the CSA on which you have a pay grade. And as per the issue of the pay grade, it will have to be done on the basis of competence. First and foremost, the basis of qualification, then competence, and then performance. It's how you do the metrics to do the evaluation on the pay on paid. So what paid, Ben or Gray, are you putting XYZ person in? Now we structure all of those things. We've been trying to do that. The harmonization process came. It was a little political at the time. People felt it was somehow political, but it was meant to do. But did that solve the problem? It's a perennial problem we have in the country. And how do we strategically or in the most surgical way solve this problem? It will have to come from us being less political here. Now, if we just put in report out to prove that this is what is unfolding, because if this very CSA came and said, no one was going to make $100 or less than $100, today we still have people getting $65 taken home. Unbelievable. They haven't addressed that yet. That is coming with the area of that. Now, have you identified how those cities, government institutions, how did you go about it? Because the CSA itself have a structure. Now, I can recall when the former CSA boss, someone that is very rounded, very reasonable, and very competent, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson put into place a system. And you see, we always love to reinvent the wheels, and it's carrying us absolutely nowhere. We have gone by Mr. James Thompson, gala and plan. He tried to do a very wonderful job in the CSA. It's just like, again, government will come, government will go, and most of those political appointments we have to let them go. But yes, but if you have someone that is so smart, that is so meticulous in trying to follow the rule of engagement, if that person is leaving and you come in to replace that person, you have to at least fit in the shoes of that person. Mr. Thompson was doing a good, James Thompson was doing a tremendously wonderful job at the CSA, but now folks came and tried to think that they want to come and reinvent things, and they try to be more political. And being political wouldn't solve our problem. We have to be more or less very professional in this and try to go back to the very CSA act. It's an act creating the CSA. There is a complete CSA guideline mechanism that we can implement, and if they are well implemented, we have to follow all of the process, and we do there's a time-to-time evaluation that will have to be done. And how are we engaging those things? Number one, people politicize the CSA instead of ministers and other things. Sometimes even do the rotation and other things, staff rotation, staff evaluation. CSA do have a methodology in evaluating the staff as to who can be director and an assistant director, as to all those things, and how the pay grade is. Until we can realize that and stick to the rules of engagement, we will always time to time be political. And part of this political issue is to just gain some political attention, but we're not solving the problem. We're going to be in a visual cycle. It's quite unfortunate.
Wow. Masare, did you get the report? Are you familiar with the report from the CSA?
So I've been following the CSA from when Josiah Choka came to that position. I have not seen that report you're talking about, and I think I will have to make a research on it tomorrow to lay my hand on the report before I can make further comment on it, but I have not seen it.
Great. Well, then it's a consensus. We want to get a report, put it in our chat room, let everybody digest it, and we'll discuss it tomorrow. But let's look at, let's go to one that really caught my attention here. It says 50% of Liberian children are out of school. That's the UNICEF research. Young man, if you are familiar with the subject matter, can you bring us up to speed? I'm talking about Masare.
You are saying my internet was breaking.
Okay. It says here, half of Liberian children out of school, UNICEF warns. And it says that I read, published June 18, 2025. It said nearly half of all Liberian children are out of school, according to UNICEF, which warns that the country's future is at risk unless bold and coordinated reforms are urgently implemented. UNICEF country representative Andy Brooks sounded the alarm during an indoor program in Monrovia commemorating both the Day of the African Child and the Day Against Child Labor. He urged the Liberian government, development partners, and the private sector to go beyond symbolic gesture and commit to systemic reform that put children at the center of national development. Mr. Pewee, this is big, this is strong, and this is Masare, there you go. Mr. Pewee, this one is backed up by I sent it to you because you stress on statistics, proving data and data. This one is a big one from UNICEF based on their report that Liberia is performing dismally.
Oh yes, back in the days, UNICEF. You remember UNICEF been around in the country for many years, and it was the UNICEF part of the reason why Liberian kids even had reason to smile during the very tumultuous civil crisis in the country. UNICEF pumped a lot of money into child education, particularly creating the very good environment for them. UNICEF sponsor most of our kids and even help through the system about textbooks. At the time, there were no textbooks in most of our primary and secondary schools, particularly the elementary, the primary school and elementary schools, and all those areas. It's not a primary; it's the pre primary area. They pump a lot of money into creating textbooks, books that will set the stage for kids to get on course. UNICEF also pumped millions of dollars in the country for this school feeding program, because there was a report emanating from UNICEF, I can recall, before I did that work with Legis, when we did the labor survey in 2009, 2010, thereabout. There was a report also coming out of UNICEF that part of the reason why kids were not responding adequately to the learning process, because most of them, 80% of the kids, 80 to 85% of them going to school very hungry. Imagine some of them would have slept with no food, actually for the whole day, and they expected to wake up and ask to go to school. So it was terrible. So UNICEF conducted kind of a survey on that, and we placed on role into those things. So I will be one person I will vote for UNICEF, because I did some job for them, and that the UNICEF and the UNDP back in the country. So I will understand that's sufficient, and I think it's important. If UNICEF is saying it should be, I don't know if the person is going to set another committee to look into that. I don't know if they're going to rescue that area. And Mr. Sanvee was very right. I don't want to say it, but he was very, very right to say what he just said. The president will have to set a committee. He should know what to do.
Exactly.
You have a minister, and that's why the cabinet is there to advise the president, right? And that's the reason why the framers of our constitution give the right to the president exclusively to hire and dismiss, is because you are the boss. The buck stops with you. So you cannot be setting different kind of a committee. You say all the committee, and most of the committees are given. Sometimes they put some money behind them. Oh, when they having meeting, they say they got meeting, sitting thing. All kind of nonsense. You wasting taxpayer money. Engage the issue. Hold the bull by the horn. Hold the bull by the horn and take some decisive decision and change some policy issue. If policy issue have been changed and you implement the right thing, that report UNICEF is giving is true. It's actually true. UNICEF if you see the money UNICEF have pumped into our kids' education in Liberia, it's extraordinary. So if they're saying those things to you, they've got the data, they've been doing analysis on the back and forth. UNICEF even pumped a lot of money in training teachers to ensure, because most of the schools, that survey we went on, we found out, given this is important. We found out when I was on the field, we were collecting the data, right? We will go to an elementary or senior high school. This man is a 9th grade dropout. He's teaching 10th grade student. 9th grade dropout is teaching 10th grade student. They see, then time will come when you talk to them, they say, oh, that was the biggest nomenclature at the time that I was using, volunteer teachers. So what UNICEF came, UNICEF said, well, bad. UNICEF predicted that the educational system will have been terrible in the country if that pattern continues. Right? So UNICEF put in a system to train teachers. Started training them. And that's the reason why during the Madam Sadi's time, there was this issue Madam Sadi brought into play. Look, President Sadi did some very good things. If other leaders have followed those things, she put in the system that the teacher college at the University of Liberia attended, they will give you stipend, because they wanted to encourage more teachers to come in the system that will be competent and qualified to go in the classroom. The push to train, to rehabilitate the Zero TTR, the KRTTR, there's also Rural Tutor Training Institute, the Kakata Training Institute, and all those things. So you do those things, encourage people to go and get at least C certificate to find their way in teaching, because that's the methodology. You need to understand and particularly implement what one of my former teachers would say, the K-square methodology have to be there, right? So you have to be at least a C certificate holder or even above to go and teach. You can be a 6th grade dropout, you're teaching 10th grade. And imagine you'll see, and we enter on the classroom, the guy was teaching with confidence.
Of course.
Yeah. So they say when they
and the company, what is it? The company not available. The available is competent.
Exactly. So let me end here. That report, we should take it serious, and I think the government, the president, will have to meet his education advisor and the minister so they can really look at a revolutionary strategy to see how we will help our kids. It's not a good thing at all. It's bad.
Mr. Namwe.
Yeah, Jerome Siliki is in the back. He's being texted. Siliki.
Oh, okay. Hey guys. Bring I think there are 2 guys there. We got Siliki.
Yeah, I think about 2 guys.
And Gay in the back. Okay. It says they're citing the data. Brooks said 50.1% of the school children in Liberia are not enrolled. 50.1%. That's over half are not enrolled in school. A crisis he described as a direct threat to the nation's human capital and social cohesion. He warned that an uneducated generation will perpetuate cycles of poverty, inequality, and social instability. Alongside, you think the news was not bad? Listen to this. Alongside the education crisis, Broad revealed that Liberia under 5 mortality rate stands at 93 per every 100. 93 per every 100, Mr. Namwe. We are not only talking about the uneducated young folks, but we are talking they are dying at birth, basically at 5. 93 for every 100. 93 dies. You think the president will address the nation? This is when we talk about national security. Not going to arrest one guy to take him to court, and you got 25 police officers with guns. A man who got nothing, the man is handcuffed. You got only t-shirt and pants on. And you got 10 police officers with guns and shield and all that. And here we say 50.1% of the population, the young people are not in school. And then 93 out of 100 out of 1,000 dies between the ages of birth and 5. I mean, this is damning, Mr. Namwe.
It is, Jerome, and I'll really do the best I can to keep it short. I agree with most of what Sylvester was saying. We have to be intentional about our planning. Early childhood education, everywhere, the countries that prosper, that do well. You understand me? They prioritize, they can call it Head Start. It goes by several different names. But that's where it begins. Early childhood education. You go to Murray, you see other children standing in the street and selling. Those are kids who are supposed to be in school. Because study after study after study after study have demonstrated that the best time for the development of the brains is when you are a child. You don't even need study to show you and I right now to learn something new. That's why sometimes you buy a new cell phone, you gotta call your child to come and turn it on because we can't keep up. We're too old. You learn quicker and faster. Your brain is active when you're younger, and that's what this whole thing is about. So when the children are in the formative ages, that's where you lay the foundation. And studies have shown that those children who get good foundation, they go on to be the most successful. They go on to be the most humanistic. They go on to be the best performing at everything. You give them a fighting chance. And so right out of the cradle, we are already stifled. We're snuffing out our own future as a country. All the children who are out of school, they will come back, like Reverend Rice said of Obama, the chicken will come home to roast. It will come back and hit us. I mean, what are you seeing right now in Monrovia is part of the problem. Since 1989 or so, some people say 79, although I would disagree, but some people would take it back that far. But what we are experiencing right now is exact consequence of the neglect that we suffered since those years. Most of the people today who are running the government are of people of that age category. Some of them were lucky they got good foundation. Some of us, we didn't get that much solid foundation like we're talking about now. And yet, we expected to tackle complex, difficult problems that confront us as a nation. And what do? We're going to be at the way and drown ourselves in it, and you go to sleep. You postpone, mommy, I'll come back to that thing tomorrow. But yes, let's keep it simple. Educating our young people is securing our future as a nation. We have to prioritize that because the study supported that's the best time to educate a nation. When your children are young, you lay the foundation and they go on to become successful. They go on, they become good psychosocial function. They develop, good work function. All the good habits, all of those things, they come with a good foundation. So if the UNICEF people are coming back to caution, they know what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about. So, I hope all of these things when we're discussing them and bringing them out, I know some of our colleagues who are in government are listening, who are in decision making. I hope, somehow they will find a way. They don't get upset and feel like we're talking at them or we think we're smarter than they are. No, we're not. We're just trying to be, what they call on the outside, looking on the inside, the fishbowl. We have that vantage point. Sometimes you see better when you're on the outside. That's what we're talking about. But yeah, educating our young people, it should be a priority because that secures our future.
Masore, he warned that Liberia's stats is one of the highest globally. He's not saying in the Mana River Union, West Africa, Africa. He is talking about we are one of the worst globally, international compared to everybody across the world. We are one of the worst. Your take on this, because this is your generation, we inherit this.
So, for me, Mr. Gamer, I don't know why we are surprised about this entire Liberian kids not being in school in the UNICEF report. For me, that report should not even be something like is a lie or political report. That's not a political report. That's a fact. So, as a matter of fact, I've been opportune over the last few months, like from February till now, I visited almost 6 to 7 counties across Liberia in recent time, and that's a hard truth. Some of these areas when you visit there, even areas that are considered to be city, you will notice that most of the little children they are now in school. And not to talk about the village. So that's an entire generation being wasted, generation future being wasted, and these are the people we expect to be future leaders. So if you have almost 50% of its future generation are not being educated, so what's the essence of having a nation? What's the essence? So for me, it's not strange. And every year you will see increasement in budgetary allotment for the Ministry of Education. You will see it there to the Ministry of Gender. But then where all this money going, the only thing Ministry of Education or Gender Ministry will come and tell you on this report is the money going on salary. We are not being fully supported. That's the reason you see these things are happening. But then the president just announced, that's weird. For me, I think it will improve if what he say is true. They just announced that they will be building over, I think, 100 plus schools across the country, uh, free government school across the country. So if that works, then it means we are heading somewhere. But if it does not, it means that's a whole wasted generation. For me, it's not strange. Go River says, go Sando. If I were enter River says, Mr. Kame, you'll feel so disappointed and feel like you are not even in Liberia. River says one of the horrible countries to live in. Yet and still they have top brat, people who claim to have money for there. They're Honorable Eric Snow, Honorable Bill Clary. These are sons from that particular country. But then when you enter in that country and you see young kids you feel so bad. If you don't want to see a school that people say, okay, my children or my child is in this school in real self. It's a more house that is partly leaking and children sitting there on more blocks to learn. But then they consider it as private school. So why more about the government institution and society have to support? So it's not strange. For me, it's not a strange thing. I pray that I'm not praying that we should for that. I'm not praying that it should remain at that because if it remains at that, it means that's an entire generation being wasted, future being wasted, and it will affect our country badly. It will affect our country badly. The government and now the president announced that it will be building over 100 schools across the country. So we hope and pray that it will make a positive change soon.
Listen, you can build all the building you want. That's not what we call school. School is not just the building. It's the human capital, like the man was talking about, to teach. And not only to teach, but they shouldn't be volunteer. They should be paid. And when they are paid, then you can hold them accountable. You cannot fire a volunteer. If I'm volunteering, you're not paying me. I come to school whenever I want to come to school. If I go to Basel and swallow my doma with a lot of pepper burning my mouth and say, listen, I'm not coming to my pepper cool down. Because nobody pay me. I come there on my own volition. But
And you know what? Let me tell you something. You know what else I found out? I've been involved with my, Baroque work. We're trying to some of the teachers, right? Because the pay they're being paid as government teachers is so low, most of them they are government teachers on government payroll, and then they have another assignment in the private institution. Yeah. And what they told me was the private institution, they have these high fences. So when they go in, they can't come out. So what they do is they go to, and I'm not saying all the teachers, but I'm saying some of the teachers, that's just what I was told. So, and I'm trying to put some of my thing outside. But they go in the government school and sign in, and then they go in the private school and they stay in the fence and they teach in the private school. So at the end of the day, they pay. And who's losing? Our young people who go to the public school. But again, we're talking about why the children are not in school. The reasons will vary from one to, but they basically, some of them, they have to go out there and be the breadwinner for their parents. We were talking about it yesterday with the tappers and all of that. Some of these children, they actually have to go and sell market for their people to survive. And some of them, they put on high school fees to pay for their children to go to school. Some of the places that just isn't in school, like Samson is saying. I mean, we saw the school from Bingba Township, from Honorable Farmless District. We saw that here from David Rogers. Those are the kind of schools we got around the country. A child who goes to school in that kind of, what does that do to their self-esteem when they go out tomorrow and sit down in a school like the one you have? I don't even want to talk about it here in the States, but the one in Monrovia, their self-esteem takes a hit. And that child, it will take, if they will ever recover from that emotional damage, it will take time. All of these things are factors that affect our young people as they grow up.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Let me read this real quick before you come in. It says here, Liberia is one of the worst globally, not nationally, not West Africa, not Africa, globally. Then he says here, this demands an immediate attention. This is a silent emergency that demands immediate attention. It said these are the things that happen when the government does simply say, first, it developed into child stunting. You see, y'all say Liberian people with short, like here, stunting, affecting 30% of child under 5. They can't grow. How low birth registration rates. Only 66% of Liberians have something called birth certificate. They don't know when they were born, basically. They are not recorded. 66% of the country. So 66% of the country are officially considered registered. Further compounding the crisis, this is more than a humanitarian issue. This is about Liberia's ability to grow, thrive, and prosper. Brooks said, we are calling for bold, measurable action. He also expressed concern over Liberia's over-reliance on external funding.
Yeah.
noting that 70% of the social sector budget is supported by foreign donors. 70%. Mr. Pewee, you left start, but I'm laying it on you today. UNICEF is saying 70% of the money that's supposed to go to these issues. Liberia don't even care. They leave them with the international community. You are muted.
I just said to us just now, and I took time saying that. I tried calling Myean. I don't know if he's not around. I don't know. I got a picture I wanted to send to you so you could offload if you can do it. But if not, I was trying to call Myean to do that. I'm not getting him. I'm just calling him. I'm not getting him.
I'm calling him. I can't get him either. I've got two guys in the back.
People in the back. Maybe come and he's, I don't know where if he's I don't know.
I don't know where.
But
because Masare too, he's buffering.
Yeah, it's a serious thing. That I think, and the report is. I mean, trust me, I'm not questioning the report, nothing whatsoever. I believe in the report 100%. We don't consult. We don't do those things. If we only had institutions like UNICEF, Save the Children, UNICEF, Save the Children, International Rescue Committee, who would have been done. UNICEF, Save the Children, IRC, and there are other. We used to have World Vision before the day 1 or 2, but particularly the UNICEF #1, Save the Children, and MSF came to help in other areas, right? So, listen, it's a serious problem. And IRC built most of the school in rural Liberia. If you saw most of the schools and that was also UNICEF, and I've got UNICEF sponsor IRC too. Sometimes UNICEF will pump money into IRC. IRC will raise their own fund and other things. And the Save the Children UK, Save the Children USA, and a lot of other international organizations that pump millions of dollars in helping to most of the schools. Yes, this is in Bapuru. It's a time in Bapuru when I visited at 20. This is Bapuru.
Oh, looking clear. It's very clear.
Yeah, with the kids, right? That's a school there. That's a school there behind us there. That's a school. Imagine that's a school. I don't know how to do it. It's a school there. This is in Bapuru, right? So imagine the kids there were sitting on the bare floor to learn. On the bare floor to learn.
Yeah.
When we toured the county and we had to do some intervention, we had to find material for that school, brought in some assorted educational materials for the kids, and even the instructors and other things. The guy there teaching the kids, they were two, they said to me, they have never seen what they call P. Imagine they put in the time, and at the time, this time, it was the time of the former pro temp of the Liberian Senate. What's his? No, not Finney. The pro temp. I'm talking about Bapo.
Mama Jala.
He was the pro temp at the time when we did this visit. So I will say this to you, and it's a very huge town. I will say this to you: the kids are learning in a very deplorable conditions, hazardous conditions, where somebody will bring the mud bricks, right? They will bring the mud bricks in class. Maybe I will try to go in my archive and get some of the video for that. They will go to mud bricks in class. Then they will take, if they got 1 or 2 capybaras or so, they will take one and put on the mud brick and sit on it. Then the other one to put it on their lap, the writing. What you will learn? Look, Gamer, it's unfortunate that you find yourself in the kind of a line and you go by, you see the way the kids learn under the condition. And that's why I want to see whether we should pray for the UN and its organ. That organ of the UN, UNICEF, play a significant role. UNDP also play a significant role into some of these things. It is not only important and very disheartening that I experienced it and I saw it. I think on my account, people I will send it via people so you will display and see the kids. It was in the hard portion of it. And this town is about on motorbike because it was impossible for her to drive. Because the Guarm Hill that Madam Sadi then try to break down to go to better year, like the Guarm Hill and other things. I think Myean is in the studio. Myean, if you can put that thing I'll send to you, please. I beg you, please, and you can send it. I beg you, I want you to do that for me. If you went that Guarm Hill, it's a dense forest. And as Mr. Nambe said, it will also it hampers the self-esteem of these kids. So many the teachers don't read from the prepared textbook. Most of the textbook you have, they will read different stories. Like for instance, come out read books from I can recall in St. Michael Catholic School. I read a book from what I can still remember the book about Mrs. I just slipping her name. We read from different textbooks. But this time teacher just coming and will imaginarily teach them. Not from the prepared text curriculum. Right? So it is a serious thing. And imagine this county is not far from our seat of government. The thing about county like River G and River Cess, Maryland. Because the only part of Maryland that you will go see in German is around Harper. Because it's very Harper area. When you go in downtown Harper, you see all those small skyscrapers, you drop pavement. But just go to Borough, how do you call it, place Hoffman Station?
Yeah.
No, but People
is a body area. But Newton, Hoffman Station, and Mr. Nabe, you know, so that's the terrain I'm familiar with, right? Hoffman Station, you go there now, everything, we say what's up. So, I mean, this is the school. Yeah. That building behind there is a school. You see, those kids. Yeah. Those kids go to school. Most of them very hungry. And sometimes there's no prepared textbook there. The teacher will find it very, very difficult in English and there's no support. So we did those things at the time.
I mean, look at the kids. Look at the dusty feet and all that.
Yes.
I mean, look at the kids.
Yes.
Beautiful looking kids, and just
very, very bad. Some of them could be that wanted not moving. What we did at the time before we left, we started pumping some support there. We did benches for this building. That tight area we did benches because there was no one for them to sit. No one for them to sit. I think the total number of children in the school was around 56. 56 kids. Nothing whatsoever. So when we did this, and we did a lot of public relations on this thing. UNICEF said, somebody called from UNICEF said, I'm going to go and see how the COVID. Now, the information now, they got a new school there. UNICEF got a school that they had there, they abandoned it, they put money in the budget, but they're eating the money. So then they will put money in the budget for school. There was a time when we hit them hard, they said the money in the budget for the school. And they said they put around $76,000 to build a new school, elementary school for the kids. And that school never got built. The UNICEF moved in after our advocacy, and UNICEF did something. And so, given the report you're saying there, I did a lot of work for UNICEF. I did some work for UNDP on these things in the country. And I went to the very rough area in the country, and I saw how difficult kids are. Something. So I hope Mr. Boaka will set Ambassador, he has to the president, will focus on this. And another person I may know, maybe that's the reason why he came on the show. I thought he internet and Buffalo again. Johnny may know a lot of things about these things also. Johnny been traveling across the country. He may have some reasonable understanding on this, but it's totally important, my brother. It is. Okay,
guys, welcome to Mr. Siddiqui. Dr. Peabody was here. I guess he's in Liberia because his internet was buffing also. Mr. Siddiqui, let me put you on the spot so we can go to the next subject. It says here 70% of the social development budget is supported by a donor, while the country tax to GDP ratio is only 13%. The GDP that the tax money going to the kind of development, only 13% of the entire country GDP going to the kind of social development. 13%. 13. That means 83%. Is that correct? 87% of the money is you chop and I chop.
Generators, crash car.
Yeah.
Brand new cars.
And
then the Jolly. The private jet that the president denied. I mean, anyway, go ahead.
Mr. Siddiqui, this is your generation here.
Yeah.
No money coming to you. I know. I don't know where you went to school, but you might have been self-read. That means they didn't give you nothing much. You learn everything basically on your own. What is your thinking on what we're talking about here?
Yeah, Mr. Nambi, is good evening again to everybody. Good to be on the show. So yes, that's the current reality in Liberia, and it's not only limited to this current administration, and this is something what that get a lot of people disappointed that people will come to office and ignore those issues and just and the people don't seem to demand more from the government, and this is why a lot of Liberians just continue to think if we ever going to see any change, in the next 6 years or in the next 10 years to come. This is very, very disappointing. And similar to what you're saying, I read a post today from Dr. Clarence Maloba. He's visiting Angola, which the fought 27 years of civil war. And whenever you talk about Liberia, we base our backwardness to the civil war we fought. And I think our war was about 14 or 11 years, something like that. But Angola fought for 27 years. And he shared a photo, and he talked about how organized and how the people are taking straight forward. And for us, we was our time, like for example, he did mention that the whole last year we was on majority and minority block. Invest the country resources into so-called meetings and budget expenditure and all of that. And nothing is there for the people. The young people have been used to just singing, battle cries and talking politics all of the time. This is the current reality, and this is really, really sad. No Liberians, whether in Liberia, especially in Liberia, should be deprived of education. As I listen to the show going on, this is something that you guys are talking about, because their family cannot afford, or because, of some one or two unfortunate situation. But it is what it is, and how can we change this? This is the hard question. We can continue to do the same thing and expect different results. And if you continue to do this, it just shows insanity. And this is why that quote common. You can continue to do one thing over and over and over and over. And when we're talking, people say, oh, gay men have no politics, gay men being in America all the time. Mr. Nambe is not connected to the people on ground. And the question is, the people who've been connected to the people on ground, how have they been able to change, to make a difference? To show to us that, look, being connected to the people on ground actually gets you to stand on some advantage over people who is not connected or with people on ground. But again, we have to do something about this. It cannot be like this forever and ever. And for me, this is what I say. I don't care what happened 10 years ago before Siliki Kuma was born. I don't care about that. My concern is what we can do now. I don't care about yes, we can always talk about the past. We can talk about people, records in the past. But, any society who always talk about the past, they don't seem to be like a country who really want to move forward. If we really want to move forward, we should say, you know what, let's do it today. Let's start today and move forward, And I will end on this note, Mr. Kimen. Somebody doing a campaign in 2023, and I think I narrated that story here before. There's a time in Nema County, 8 human beings left in a kingdom in that time, including a 2-week-old baby, simply because, the family came out to get on the kingdom, to go and fish in it, to look for that daily bread. 8 human beings, and what will even encourage us, 2 weeks-old baby man to go on a kingdom, to go and fishing. So let's think about those things. And this is happening across. And some young people, they support the politicians, thinking that when they come to power, they give them job. And when they come to job, they can't even give them job. And they get disappointed. They post it on Facebook. This is not going to solve the result. This is not a football game. You elect people that they are going to have a mandate of 6 years. You cannot remove them until that mandate comes to an end. So this is something we have to take into consideration. You know, we come, you talk about you go in Liberia is something different. People not even asking no questions. You know, how many Liberians really demanding from this government, you know, to account for the GAC report that came up that indicate that there was increase in supplementary payroll at the executive mansion. How many Liberians talking about that? None. You know, every day we go on Facebook talking about capital billing, you know, issues, you know, Fonati Kofa and other lawmakers being arrested. Yes, we can talk about those things. They should account for it if they were actually involved. But people seem to kind of miss, you know, target and kind of focus on politics that is giving us no result. And we have to do something about it, Mr. Kamen. Yeah, it is a current reality like you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Johnny. Are you in a safe place?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. I wanted you to close on this because this is something that
incoming.
Senator, the incoming senator. And when you get there, you got to visit all these schools and make a correction.
Oh yeah.
Johnny, this is what's going on here. It says mortality rate stands at 93 deaths per 1,000 in Liberia, and it says 30% of children under 5 have low birth registration rates. Only 66% of Liberian children has birth registration. And then it says here 70% of the budget for social development comes from foreign donors, and the tax to GDP ratio remains at 13%. I mean, I'm throwing all this at you because this is your area.
But the man well capital center. The man honestly, he not answer the question. Guza will get there with him.
That's correct. You were fascinated. Why are these people saying to Joseph Boyka?
Capital then spend some money there. So he go ahead and tell,
he's still eating it. I can see he's still eating the money.
Thank you, Pewee. And you know, Pewee, by breath, I'm his bigger brother, but by tradition, he's my uncle. So Pewee, can you permit me to speak here?
Yeah, that's why I was even mindful when I was speaking. I was looking at New York going to come. So now that you attend everything, what do you?
Go ahead.
Okay, so but I mean, on a frank note, I mean, you know, I did demography and sociology in my undergraduate. So you're talking about death rate and birth rate, all the issues are things that follow. I mean, obviously, those figures are alarming when it comes to human development. If you have a country, you know, a society or a geographic location where transportation is an issue, access to health facility, access to education, obviously you expect things to happen. Take for example, in the Southeast, I'll give you two examples: the Southeast, River G, and the Southeast, and the Western region, Peabody County, where I've worked. For matter of fact, I have been to all 15 counties, and not just being in their big cities, but in the remote communities. As far as Belfast, for example, where I went to work with a retired U.S. public health official, and we interviewed a midwife, traditional midwife, who told us that most women and in the country of Belfast to get their regular pregnancy checkup, medical checkup, thing. Short distance for them to walk is 3 hours.
Jeez.
And the longer distance for them to walk is 11 hours.
Pregnant women.
Yeah,
to get prenatal care.
Imagine, and the walk is not on a smooth road like you're walking like from Tomalin Boulevard to Pinsville. You're walking in the forest, in the jungle, where you are walking in wet woodland, in the swamp, you're crossing over logs, you're climbing hills, walking in the forest, right? These are the things that we are faced with as a country. And this is why I always said, personally for me, I have no interest in our government officials because our national budget doesn't seem to address those issues. If our national budget can address the issue of access to education, access to health, maternal health, you know what I'm saying? If we can work to reduce our death rate in birth, then we're making progress. But look, those figures you have, my brother, Guarm, and the rest of the team, I assume they will get collected from where they could access. But if you go deeper into Liberia and go as far as Kehleboe in Sando County, the global district of Sando County, Kehleboe, as far as Nyenwolo can, where I worked 4 hours because there was no way to drive. We had to park our vehicle in a town called Peabody and walk 4 hours to Nyenwolo can. I imagine how is the government able to take health facilities to those places where people are living in Nyenwolo can, free. You know, I mean, I can go ahead and name you several communities in each county where access, I mean, to just drive with a local jeep to communities will be difficult. So clearly, Mr. Guarm and the rest of the team, our country needs to rethink our development agenda. And we need to rethink our national budget. Our national budget. We have public schools in Liberia, in urban places like Zredru, Fishtown, Kehleboe Gongloe, and Barclayville, Sastown. I mean, I can name places to you, but where those schools don't even have access to safe drinking water. Young people going to school, the public school campus don't have safe drinking water. Is that difficult? No, it's not difficult. It's easy to be done. But it's only easy if our leaders can deny themselves of what they want and focus on the people's well-being. I tell anybody, if you give me even $100,000 for Lofa County, I can ensure that 90% of the communities in Lofa County will access safe drinking water. Because the people of Lofa are people who have a culture of collective and collaborative development. If you give them $1, they will give you $1 in return to support the project they want. But because people don't have interest in that, and because again, people don't understand our governance system, so they let anybody to be a representative or senator. I feel so bad that I want to go in somewhere like Konya, even in my own uncle hometown, Yela, a town that should be a real heritage town. You know what I'm saying? People are still trying to get water from creeks and hand pump and some other places to get safe drinking water. Where if you check all the towns, you can hardly access it. You hardly see a house that has a commode of fresh running water. In the 21st century, Liberia, a country that has natural resources, what's happening to us? I'm not saying this to condemn any government. I'm saying this to ask our young brothers and sisters, our government officials who are listening to us, to rethink how to develop how to craft our national budget. Let our budget aim towards addressing our social problems. Our social problems are the issues. So of course, look, I was just doing a research on Barbados 2 days ago. Barbados that we just had a president in Liberia. Barbados has 98% literacy. I'm not saying illiterate, literate, read and write. And to be literate, you gotta be out of high school. 98% literacy population of Barbados. How can Liberia now tap on the people's qualities to help Liberia develop and move forward? You know what I'm saying? Let's make sure our international relationship, people can elaborate more on that. Countries that we have relationship with internationally, how can we tap on their benefits, on their successes to let Liberian benefit? We have young people in the country that are doing practically nothing. And to end on this note, if 1,000 of well-meaning Liberians will take one person that we call Zogo to be their mentee, we can improve Liberia.
Thank you.
If 1,000 men and 1,000 women, well-meaning, can take one Zogo, one female Zogo or one male Zogo to be their mentee, to organize them, to rehabilitate them as an individual, we can make Liberia be a better place. We don't have an issue in this country because we're not many. Other countries are 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 100 million, and they are doing well with system. So why are we not able to continue and address our issues here when we have less population and we are able to maintain our problem? But I want to appeal to every one of us in Liberia. Let us try to do what Trump is doing, like make Liberia first. I'm not saying I'm a Trump fan, but let's see that logic. Liberia first. Liberia first means every one of us should do something to make Liberia great. Whether you're in government, You are in your private life. If you have the means, do something to make Liberia great, to transform Liberia. That's what we need for this country.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's what we are doing here. Thank you.
Let me welcome Susan. Are you doing that, young lady?
Well, thank you. I'm fine.
Good. I suppose you've been following. Since you are a mother, you are a wife, you are a sister, you are a daughter of the soil. I'm going to hit you with a number before we close on this. Liberia, according to UNICEF, 50.1% of the children, more than half of the children, school-age children, are out of school. It says here, under 5 mortality rate is 93 deaths per every 1,000. 30% of children under 5 with low birth registration. Only 66% of Liberian children are officially registered. All the other children don't know when they were born, where they were born. I mean, I'm driving the whole thing in your lap so you can close it out. We go to the next topic, but this one is heavy. We're gonna have a special show on this particular statistic because it is damning, and I think the president should take UNICEF seriously and deal with this issue. We are in a dire strait. Susan, your take on the issue.
Good morning again once more, guys, from my end here. The issue with Liberia, I mean, every time we all come on our platforms, we talk about the same thing over and over and over and over, and nothing really is being done about it. The healthcare system in Liberia is one heartbreaking thing to really to see, because the Australia I live in here, first of all, you will go to the school, you go to the nursing school, or you go to whatever school that you have to go to. Once you're done with your study, you have to go through they have to register you to be on a APA registration board to practice. Sadly, in Liberia, I don't think we even have that. We see a normal guy that is just maybe he knows how to put injection in somebody's, the community person, people will be calling that person a doctor. Just recent time, we saw a group of kidney patients that went out there to protest about having dialysis in just right there in Morovia in the government hospitals. And the guys that came out to speak, the government went after them. They want them not to say anything because they said to them that they are spoiling the country name. So the country is in a place where it's so heartbreaking. Imagine what my brother just said. A pregnant woman have to walk 3 hours to go for a regular checkup. That is disappointing. Very disappointing, very, very heartbreaking. So the healthcare system in Liberia is damaged. You and my son know we live in the Western country. When we go to see, just, right to the regular clinic here, we basically just go and, the people have a proper place that we will sit down with probably air condition or heater. But in JFK, we have our mothers and sisters and brothers sitting down on the floor to be called inside. So imagine somebody that is sick, sitting down on the floor for you to call the person. What if the person is bleeding and the person is bleeding and losing blood? That person sitting down outside for you to call that person. When will you call the person in for the person to come and get the appropriate treatment? And our government, they don't prioritize what is important. We see our leaders driving private jets. When the first woman, recently when she was sick, they took her to Dubai. Why must we have a country where the system is so damaged? Education system is damaged, the healthcare system is damaged, and we come on social media to prioritize and celebrate what we're not supposed to celebrate. It's the most disgusting thing ever. And to just close with this, Bwaka being that age, our president. In our African culture, the people can say, when you grow old, right? They say when you old, that blessing, right? So Liberians wants to be like Boaka age. People want to grow and be like Boaka age. And for his age and the first lady age, I think they're supposed to be prioritizing the health system in Liberia. Yes, for their age, they have to prioritize it, because if you can come and tell us that you're happy to live this length of time, and we have our sisters dying in childbirth, we have our mothers, they don't even know what their blood pressure is supposed to be. The little tips are supposed to be that's supposed to be taught in the community. We have nurses that are practicing. We don't even know if they practice with a nursing board in Liberia. We don't even know if they have a nursing board. We don't know the length of time they study. It's just the most heartbreaking. So if we have a man at Bwaka age at this moment, I think it's his responsibility to prioritize the health system in our country and the health system and the education system, because that is very important. I have so much to say, but I will leave the rest for the other people.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the next topic here. And I will start with Mr. Nangwe on this one. Then I go to Siliki. It says here, key capital arson suspect arrested. Says government offered him $200,000 to frame Fonati Kofa. And it reads, June 18, 2025. One of the prime suspects in the December 2024 Capitol building arson case, John Yanati, has been arrested and jailed following an international manhunt and made explosive claim that the Boyka-led government offered him $200,000 to falsely implicate former House Speaker J. Fonati Kofa. Yanati was apprehended under an Interpol arrest warrant and brought before Criminal Court A on June 13, where Judge Roosevelt J. Willie ordered his detention at Monrovia Central Prison pending trial. He faces multiple charges under Liberia Revised Penal Code, including arson, criminal mischief, conspiracy, facilitation, facilitation, attempted murder, and reckless endangering another person. Mr. Namwe, in America here they say, throw everything at him and see what sticks, right? So today we saw the video. I don't know if Mr. Myean, if you had the video, the young man coming to court. This man handcuffed, t-shirt, sweatshirt, and a pants on. And this man was surrounded by maybe between 10 or 15 police officers with shield, AK-47. I mean, it was a dramatic affair, as though this man was a terrorist with bomb strap all over. These guys are coming. Remember now, we got armed robbers, we got pickpocket, we got crime all over the country, all over the city. But this one man who is handcuffed, they had over 10 police officers with shields. Like you know, Goliath, David and Goliath fighting, they have shield. They have AK-47. I mean, taking this man to court. And I'm saying to myself, what is going on in life? But you take this man, I just read the charges. It's a whole slew of charges for a man who they say he accused them.
Yeah.
Of him. They say the offer started at 50,000 and they kept increasing to 200,000 as long as he turned state witness and implicated Fonati Kofa. He said no.
Yeah, so I saw the video clip. You're right. This was almost like a riot squad or so, bringing the young man in, and like you're saying, the stories, you know, they're very divergent. The government is saying this man was on the run, and you know, they had to mount, you know, a manhunt for him. But the man's relatives are saying, you know, the man was in Ghana and he was lured back into Liberia with the promise of huge sums of money to come in and you know, to testify against Fonati Kofa as a witness. And you know, they were going to resettle him in Europe and all, you know, some parts of the world. And when the man came, they gave him $2,000 of the money they promised him, and then they arrested him. Look, this fire case that this government is playing around with, it's starting to become evident that what they're telling us is quite different from what the real story is. And I'll be honest here. The Capitol standoff, I supported the rule of law. It was never about Fonante Kofa. I must have met Kofa in my lifetime maybe once or twice. We're not friends. I know him. He doesn't know me. But it was about doing the right thing. When this thing started, the fire happened, there are questions that they don't want to answer. There was a protest around the Capitol building a day or so before this fire. So that Capitol building was well protected. How is it that people infiltrated the shield that was surrounding the Capitol building and the place got burned? I don't think they've ever asked the people who were on duty any questions about I don't think they have done that. And people are raising these questions that these people have not been called in. The president got on the scene the very morning and passed judgment. And ever since he made the pronouncement, it seems as though our investigative authorities are doing everything possible to make the president's characterization of this fire incident come true. And that is what is bothering them. They have a solution in hand, and they're trying to build a case towards that solution. The solution is apparently leading them somewhere else, but they have to bring it around at the president's pronouncement that this was caused by hooligans, whatever it was. So so they have brought these people. Obviously now they have to bring the charges. The charges have to stand on their own merit, and apparently they don't have the witnesses to corroborate some of the allegations they are making. So this gentleman, we're watching what is happening, but it's becoming really, really, very, very, disappointing. I don't think they have a case. Look at the case is falling apart on their hands. So the Yanti fellow, his people are saying, they're speaking. And you can see from the way the riot, squad was, those are intimidation tactics, totally uncalled for. Demanding no violence to anybody. I don't know why they felt the need. I think they're overplaying their hand. So, the case is ongoing. I don't want to pass judgment here, but it is starting to become very, very obvious that they may not have a case. And this case may be thrown out.
Well, Siliki, when someone escapes, but this man, family said they know where he was. He didn't escape. He was in Ghana. They've been speaking to the press. Why bring Interpol of all people to create this drama and this man coming, people holding gun like this man is a jihadist or he got bomb strapped and he's gonna blow up anytime. It's unbelievable. What the shield? That's why I couldn't get over. All the police with shields. What's Mr. Siddiqui, you been in Liberia, you live there. Tell me, you are a politician. What's going on?
Siddiqui.
Siddiqui, you are muted. You don't want Interpol coming for you. Turn your microphone on. There you go.
Yeah, you getting me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I listened to the spokesperson for the Garguah family today, and then a short interview that a journalist had with him in the courtroom, and also the CDC press conference. But here is the thing, though. I'm not really sure, but I think Sylvester can help me on this. When Interpol arrests somebody from another country, when they come, for example, according to the government, Interpol arrested him. So the way they come from Ghana, the Interpol will keep the guy in a hotel or they bring him straight to the police station. I don't know, Sylvester, if you can help me answer that question.
Yeah, so Interpol is just the basic ground that is to prevent international crime. When crime is committed in one country, and that's why you have to get a membership on that. That is part of Interpol, right? So, for instance, if if someone from Liberia did something wrong and the person is a fugitive, escaping from the jurisprudence of Liberia and enter anywhere into those countries that we have agreement that I'm part of Interpol, we have the right to raise the red flag. And when that person is apprehended, they will be immediately turned over to the Liberian government. And when they are turned over to the Liberian government, if the person is a criminal, you cannot send the person to a hotel. That is very strange. It's difficult to comprehend, and I believe that that's where the foul play is. The person should be immediately detained because the reason they were arrested in that country is they are potential fugitive. They were running away from crime. If they are arrested, you have to turn them immediately over to the Liberian National Police, and the police will then move down to appropriately charge the person. And in 48 hours, because we have this rule about the rule of habeas corpus, if you don't charge the person appropriately for 48 hours, his lawyer will come and do whatever you need to do. For 48 hours, you do an investigation and appropriately charge the person and send to the court. But you cannot. What the reason of putting the person in a hotel?
Putting a person.
Exactly.
So I can't comprehend that, but you can go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question is because I was involved with similar case that day. If you all remember, the protest the CPP organized during the election, we started suffering. There was a guy who was entrusted with some amount of money, and he ran away with the money. You know, he went to Sierra Leone, and then he was arrested by Interpol. You know, as somebody who was on the CPP Pro media back then, who went to the Liberian border between Liberia and Sierra Leone, Bo Waterside. We went there. We received that guy, the Interpol officer, straight to Central. Nobody carried him to a hotel. He went straight to Central, whatever charges they had against him, and then they sent him to court. And then the family lawyer came, whatever they needed to do to sign for him, all of that. So this is very strange that the government of Liberia say they arrested this guy Interpol, to come. And by the way, the issue of being a state witness is coming from CDC and the guy family. But they took the guy to court today as if to say that today the guy came to the country. That guy been in the country for many days. And because according to allegedly of his refusal to go and lie in court, to against Fonatikova and other people, now they are putting some charges against him. And he was very clear to the journalists that go to my hotel in Tingas Village, all my documents are there, my names, I signed on those documents and all of that. So how can you bring somebody in a kind of case, you put him in a hotel? This is very, very strange. And this government, I knew those people get no evidence. They don't get any evidence, Mr. Nambe. And I agree with you. But at the end of the day, let's see what happens. But this is really, really bad for our country. We are not saying people should go scot-free, especially people who burn down the Capitol building. But you can't target social opposition, or lawmakers. They arrested 4 people, remember now. This lady from, I don't know, I don't know what's her name again, man. There was a female lawmaker they arrested along with the 3 lawmakers. So
is it Rosalie?
Rosalie.
Something like that. Yeah.
Priscilla Cooper.
Yeah, Priscilla, sorry.
Priscilla Cooper. So they released her to a lawyer, and the rest of the 3 guys, they had to pass 3 nights in jail. And then, before the whole trial start going on. But this is very, very unfortunate. I pray that, we have a fair trial. The perpetrator should be brought to book. But the way the government is going about it, there are so many questions. And they're trying to play a smart game. Oh, the family calling another price. The guy calling another amount. And CDC calling another. That is not the point. The point is you bring this guy from Ghana, you put him in a hotel. And this is something everybody should be concerned about. So for me, it's very strange, and let's see what happens, in the next few weeks to come.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday, the Homes Day. We're almost there. It's the midweek. When you go after today, it's almost downhill from here. Thursday, then Friday, it's on. But information this Friday, Mr. Nambe, where are we going to be this Friday?
Yes. Thank you very much, Shim. Let's plug here. This Friday, gentlemen, please join us in the Twin Cities of St. Paul. And what is the Twin City? Minnesota and St. Paul, I believe. Anyway, we'll be in the city of 10,000 Lakes in Minnesota. The CMC will be having our coming out party, getting together. introduction to the community is going to be our first introduction in the United States. Join us if you're in the Minnesota area. We'll be in Brooklyn Park. I have the address somewhere. I will find it before the show closes. I hope I'll be able to read out the address to you. But yes, Mr. Gayman will be joining me there. Dr. Richardson is going to be there with us. Mr. Chester Johnson Chester Doe, I believe, is also and the crew are waiting for us. Yes, we'll be in Minnesota.
Thank you. And real quick, on Friday, we are going to be hosting Honorable Fabian Michael Lai. He is the CEO or somebody at the top guy at NOCA. If you can remember, there was a guest here that said a lot about NOCA, and Mr. Fabian has been given an opportunity to come and make some clarifications and educate us on what NOCA is all about. So on Friday, that's the 20th, day after tomorrow.
Mr. Gayman, Jen Mambaro is telling us, I think it's a she, I think Jen is a she, but she's coming to join us. Yes, I'm sorry to cut in there. Yeah, please, we encourage all to come out. Come out, let's mix. Even if you don't want to be a part of CMC, it's gonna be a Liberian gathering. We're gonna have fun. We'll have free refreshment. Come on there, hang out with Mr. Gayman. He's a very jovial fellow. Very outgoing. Come and hang out with me. Come and hang out with the rest of us. Let's have fun.
Susan, I will be coming to Australia soon. Hopefully, I'll be your guest. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that you don't wear anything to show the muscle. Also,
I'll be coming. No, I'm going to wear that when I go to Australia.
Michelle Obama calls it bare arms.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
But give me the whole thing they answered, which I didn't speak to it.
We got a feedback.
There's a feedback from some. Okay, I think I should be good now. There's this basic issue about the whole thing about the guy that they arrested. I know that was today. The thing that the Siddiqui was just talking about. It sounds a little fishy, and there's a lot of issues that are unfolding that we need to dig more into. Because this whole process about Interpol. Are we there?
Yes, I can hear you.
You see what you're trying to do? Guys, we got a terrible feedback.
Don't forget to answer Jane in the comment section. She wants to know whether you're not coming. People keep asking you and you're not saying anything.
Oh no, I'm not seeing the question. I'm not seeing it.
Jane McBarrow. Thanks for correction, Jane. It's a she, but she's one of our committed and very very active audience members.
She said you're not coming.
No, I will. I will be in touch, Jane. I will. But yeah, as I was saying, what's happening actually? Are we still on?
Yeah. I think we're good now.
Yeah. So it sounds a little. It sounds a little. Who just joined this?
We got another 30 minutes.
I think we have. I don't know what's going on.
Myean.
They say it's Myean. Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything is okay. Mr. Joshua is in the back doing some technical work, but I don't know what exactly is going on. But Mr. Johnny having like a feedback and coming in 2 times. So
is that time we should have judged. As soon as we started talking about CMC, then the technical problem started, man. What's going on?
So that's what I'm saying. So Mr. Johnny is in studio 2 times.
Any attempt to sabotage this thing will be met with
Mr. Johnny not fall asleep.
But
he having some technical issue for his end. There where the program coming from.
Can he go back out and come back?
That's what he need to
go out and
I think we're all good now. Anyways, I can hear everybody clearly.
Okay. Yeah. So as I was saying, we have to, if we want to charge our past official with crime, this basic thing about ASOM and the rest of that, we have to be very clear and ensure that the rule of law will take a course. but to want to use Interpol, because the basic line of Interpol is that is the International Criminal Police. It's the biggest police organization we have in the world, right? And I do understand that Liberia is part of said institution. So to push for Interpol to arrest any other individual moving forward from one country, because it's an international police organization that got a membership of 196 countries. 196 countries. So they just have to flag you in the system. And that's why in some line, you have to have this Interpol connectivity. There was a time we were even pushing for Liberia because Liberia didn't have our police system, so we didn't have a functioning website, the Liberia National Police. So you have to get into that system. It's the kind of a system you get into if there's a crime. You don't even have to be wasting your time. You just go into the Interpol connection site from the LMP and tap into the person, put the person near a photo, because you have to have the system that if there's a hot line moving off internationally, they just hit that thing and will appear straight into Liberia. Then that security system now will now move to set a kind of a search process as to how they can move to apprehend the person. If you immediately apprehend, if the person is apprehended, then you alert the country, right? The country that the person is coming from, the country that is pursuing the person, and then we have them. There's a way for in some time how the transportation process can be done. In some cases,
Sylvester, let me ask you, and this is what any of us on the set here. And I'm not really being flip or I'm not being smart or anything. But what is it that really works in Liberia that we can boast of? Education not working, health not working, airport not working, school not working, police not working, Interpol not working, visa. What is it that we? What is it? I want. If any of us, please, what can
Mr. Nambi, I said this the last time on this show some time ago, and I said the only thing that would change this system in Liberia, we need a complete overhaul of the system where the president would take the initiative to get everything working. For everything to start working in Liberia, we need to respect and go by the rule of the system. It's just simple. Now, I will just say this for you quickly. If you are to move into Liberia now, and you are the brother-in-law or a friend or brother of the police chief, or even one of those depot commanders, and then you're driving and one of the police officers pull you over, there's no lesson, vehicle is not registered whatsoever. You're just going to take your phone and call that person and say, I was arrested by one police officer. I don't even know what kind of police officer is doing that now. And they say, get a phone to the police officer.
Where you need?
Yeah, where you need. They get a phone to the police officer. And most of the reason the police officer will go and take the phone. As soon as the police officer take the phone, in no time you say, yes, sir. Okay, sir. Yes, sir. So there's no system. There's no system whatsoever. So it will be difficult for those things to change in the country. And that's why, and if you can have, why you have the Liberian National Police, they can push for a budget, you say you are, because Interpol is a kind of a crime coordination process internationally to ensure they arrest criminals from one country to the next, so that they coordinate those things. They facilitate the coordination of crime. That's why they are the World International Criminal Police. That's the biggest police organization. Right, so if you have it in your country, you should set it up in a way that you got a system that as soon as one thing is something is unfolding, maybe somewhere in where it may Interpol, the person did that hotline will rest up, boom, on your screen, because that is what you have a whole system set up. That person need to pop up, boom. If that person need pop, what do you do now? First and foremost, and that's how they can get more people. You hit that thing to your airport. All your people in the airport got it. All over the immigration will have it, but we don't have system.
Pewee. So
can I just ask you a question, Mr.
go ahead.
Is this Interpol just target just a particular group of Liberians or all Liberians? Because I remember the case of Henry Costa when he entered the country a couple of years ago with expired passport, and he went to Ghana. I'm sorry, several
Yeah.
So yeah, does this just apply to just a particular group of person? Because, and then again, I will show another scenario with that white guy that came recently in Liberia that caught Jessica throat, that the government just allowed him out of the country. This just
Lucas.
Yeah. So yeah, I really don't get this whole Interpol stuff.
Susan, the Interpol thing is not for a particular group of folks. So for instance, if you're in Liberia and you committed crime in Liberia, for instance, and you leaving the Bitterwood of Liberia into another country, and that country is a member of Interpol, the Liberian police will elect that country, or they will elect Interpol in its general system. They will elect Interpol in that system that wherever you're going to be found that you are a fugitive, you are escaping for crime in your country, then it's in the system. Then that, and your pictures, everything will be in. And those countries that are member of Interpol now will just put it all over airport, major area that you are wanted. And I even no time they can get there. But it's not for a particular person, but it's for those that will do the crime, not those that are already in the country. If you are in the country, they don't need Interpol. They need the system itself.
Let me
but
add
it's not member. Lucas on the system quickly. Chief Lucas on the system was that Lucas wants to court, and the court set him free. Unfortunately. Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
No, I just wanted to agree with you. I wanted to clarify more to Susan. It's an alert. It's like an APB, all point bulletin. But in order for it to work, the other people have to cooperate. So the alert will go off in Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, all the places. But if the person is in Sierra Leone and the Sierra Leone refuse to cooperate, even when the alert goes out, they will not. And I think that what caused out enjoy that time.
Yeah.
So it's not for any individual, but
yeah.
It's an international alert, but then countries have to cooperate.
Yeah. And at the time, the Saudi government thought at the time that the Liberian government was hunting Costa. Yeah. They felt it was a politically motivated process. And so they didn't budge. In some cases, and he's right at some point.
In the case of Azeva, for instance, that's why the Sierra Leone blocked him at the
yes. In some cases, they will cooperate. In some cases, they won't. And again, so Interpol system also is somehow, but it shouldn't be political. But if they suspect that your reason of trying to hunt somebody is politically motivated, Interpol won't budge. They won't help you. Yeah, because Interpol is an international criminal police that want to ensure that the rule of law is being adhered to. So if Susan is doing something, for instance, maybe if he did something in Australia, then you run away, you kind of Liberia, right? They put in the system, blah, 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 blah. So you want it, Liberia government can arrest you and send you back to Australia. Yes, on the basis of the crime you committed, not on the basis of politics.
Great.
Why you can't show you bear your
then you see I go commit crime in a brother. I rather come to Australia. They will arrest me and send me back.
But
I didn't even Liberia. The government say, oh, they made something and the people will find out. So no, I mean, he commit crime. That political reason they want hunting for the Australian government won't send me back. It should be crime related.
Let's something real quick. Last week, this week, I think it was on the 13th, we read this. And I'm going to make the connection. It says here, in Monrovia, Criminal Court A, George Roosevelt Willie, is yet to approve the criminal appearance bond submitted on behalf of Tom Edrich and several co-defendant accused of setting fire to the Capitol building. So remember this name. The name is Roosevelt Willie. Guess what happened today? The Liberian government has sent the young man to Roosevelt Willie, so you can rest assured he will never get when you go to Roosevelt Willie's court. Roosevelt Willie here single-handedly on Tuesday said the defense team filed a consolidated criminal appearance bond on behalf of all the accused in the accordance with the Liberian law. However, George Willie isn't yet to approve it, effectively prolonging the detention of the defendants, despite what legal experts describe as a presentation of surety or sufficient surety. Article 21I of the 1986 Constitution of Liberia states, all accused persons shall be bailable upon sufficient surety. The judge in action had triggered constitutional concern with legal analysis and analysts, human rights advocates questioning whether the delay stem from judicial discretion or constituent denial of due process. This is what we are talking about. It looks like there are some courts that are basically pro-government and they do the vetting for the government. And it looks like George Willie is one of those. So, Pewee, if you were in Liberia and they send you to criminal court A, you can rest assured if the government sent you there, what do people say? What the man say? Lee your own God. Susan, this is the judge that will deny you single-handedly, whether you get your bill on hand, whether it is qualified. He has the proclivity. He has the reputation for denying you bail, even if you qualify for bail. This is where the young man is going. Where do you think this young man fit would be? Do you think he's going to get bail? You think he's going to be fairly treated since the government sent him down?
He's not going to be treated fairly, it's obvious. Like, the rest of the panelists just said right now that this whole thing, and this is what I said a couple of days on my platform, the UP government, that we all know, if they have any type of evidence, that evidence would have been out long time ago, but they have nothing. This whole burning of the Capitol building, there are so many things that we also need to question the government, because if you all can remember, on the same day that the building was set on fire, the next day they brought their budget, and Liberians started questioning them as to why all of the sudden you guys are bringing us a budget that will fix the building. So they caught themselves. And after this thing happened, there was an interview with Eugene, who also admitted that when this thing happened, the Nima senator, what's his name again? Senator? He was at the building. What's his name again?
Koga.
Koga was there. Koga was the one that made the call. So, I mean, there are so many things they're doing, and I know that, this young man, definitely, they know what they're doing. They're trying to just get him to say certain things. But when you live in a country where nothing is happening, the government would divert your attention to just nonsense. This is what they're happening, because they're not doing nothing for the country. People are complaining. So now they're trying to divert the attention of the Liberian people by doing things that will make them think they're doing the right thing, or we're here to do the right thing. And the president said that he's not going to sit down here and let any type of behavior. So I know, you and myself know, that the reason why they're taking him to that judge and knowing his character is basically because they're not going to bail him out. And secondly, they did the same thing to Fanatico Fire and the rest. When they went the same day, 9 o'clock, they told them to go to the police office. To go to for questioning. They delayed their time, and they wanted to prove a point by jailing them. So all of this needs to stop. We have to put things that are very important. Our police officers, when it comes to their citizens, they do too much. They do too much. What is the show? Plenty of police officers coming around one person. One person, it just, I don't really know what to say, but where the place that where Liberia is heading right now, if we're not careful, the worst will happen in that country.
Thank you. This reminds me of when your countryman, the late Prince Johnson, when he grabbed Doe, he said, Doe will fly, Doe will fly, Doe got fly medicine. So maybe that man, that man, United got fly medicine. That's why the police want to make sure he ain't fly. Let's go to the last subject here. I wish I had the research on this, but we're going to talk about it briefly. The Integrity Watch, Liberia calls on the Liberian legislature to reject a bill seeking to amend 2 sections in the Local Government Act as proposed by Representative Jeremiah Soken. Mr. Pewee, Honorable Pewee, do you have any idea about this particular bill?
Which other bill? Go ahead again.
It says Integrity Watch Liberia calls on the legislature to reject a bill seeking amendment to 2 sections in Local Government Act as proposed by Representative Jeremiah Soken. I thought you were familiar with that. If not, then we will wait for tomorrow to do that. But let's go.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the local government act, but the new bill he's starting to amend. No, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, we get a bill.
We have to seek to go through it first.
Okay, let me go. I have my homeboy here, Victor Nyenwolo. Victor, are you from Maryland County?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, great. Let me go to Maryland County. The Maryland County School launches first ever audit of schools to boost transparency and accountability. And I'll read here. Maryland County's education sector is poised for a significant shift toward accountability. Our county education officer, CEO Larry Nimlin, has accorded the CEO Nimlin the initiative aim to ensure greater transparency in how funds generated at the school level are collected, managed, and utilized. He revealed that a professional audit recently deployed by the Ministry of Education will lead the process. At first in the history of Maryland County education, we are pleased to welcome an auditor assigned by the Ministry of Education. Nimlin said this is a critical step toward greater accountability both within our local office and in the school system. Previously, we were responsible for both collecting and auditing funds, which created a conflict and limited transparency. This new structure will help the school district. Now, Maryland County is on the front pages of the paper, trying to be the first school district to call for an independent audit for local fund collector plus what the government allocated to them. Your take on this particular step?
Yeah, I laugh at that. I just laugh. This is a joke. First of all, what money are these schools collecting? I mean, I can tell you what we are doing for my part of Maryland, where we're from the high school there. We practically carry. Look, let me just say it this way. First of all, I don't even think this education officer knows where Barrobo is. He has not been there. Whether he knows where it is, but he has not been there. He needs first to go and take a look around the county. Let him see what is available. What is the money? Where is the money the people are collecting? We had to pay the national exam fees. We had to help them here to register. What money are they collecting? The people have nothing. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? I have no idea what this gentleman is talking about. Whoever he is, I don't mean to demean, diminish him or whatever it is. But right now, I think he has his head stuck up his ass. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Where is he going? Does he know where the schools are? Since we've been trying to reach this man to tell him we have a high school in Barrobo that we had to bring up to high school level. We didn't even have the children. They couldn't go beyond 9th grade. We had to send teachers to train them. We had to pay the teacher out of pocket. And then thanks to Alexander Dopu, who was the deputy minister at the Ministry of Education, very nice young man, he helped us and put some of the teachers on payroll before they started being paid. Even then, it's not enough. Every little thing we have to chip in, and where the money the people collecting. I don't understand what the man is talking about. So I'm sorry if I sound condescending. I really don't intend to do so, but I'm getting upset because this is part of the problem we have. You take a tour of the place, go and look around, see what you have available before you make these kind of pronouncements. You can't sit down in Harper and make pronouncements like that. To me, it's grandstanding. It's not really. I don't see any significance that this is going to make in the school district of Maryland County. I'm sorry.
Pewee, we just talked about some guy by the name of Josiah Jokai about going out and grandstanding. Here, this guy taking a photograph of himself, okay, as the top CEO in Maryland County, wanted to impress Joseph Wakai and the people in Monrovia. He called his buddy, maybe called the Minister of Education, come and audit him. He said, come and audit me, see what I'm doing here. I'm actually transparent. I'm the best in the school system. And he blew his own horn, only for his homeboy to say, you know what? We've been struggling in that place. We paying the teacher from our pocket. We building school. Well, the man, and it says here from Harper. He said in Harper, said it.
Yeah. That there's a saying that say, let the sleeping dog what?
Lie.
Don't hit it. That when the dog is sleeping there, the problem that is if you're not doing nothing and you try to start blowing things or start to dig behind you, then they'll expose the government more. And that's what Mr. Jokai did to his own boss, the president that appointed him, right? In less than 2 weeks ago, the president was in Nima County saying all the good thing about ArcelorMittal, that they were the best company ever. They're doing great things in Liberia. Just a little over 2 weeks ago, or even less than 2 weeks ago. Then Jokai said, no, I want to tell the people that the president doesn't know what he's saying. Right? The president doesn't know what he's saying. The president is insensitive. Now, the move of Jokai is to further exemplify that the president is incompetent. That's why he tried to tell the people of Liberia that the president doesn't know what he's doing. If the president will come and say these things about the country, there's nothing. And Jokai himself, and he went on. Now he's trying to do those things, but he is a very convoluted issue by saying to us alarmingly that this is that. Then the minister, it is stopped there. So there's an internal wrangling now in the government. The minister of labor came also said, no, Jokai is incompetent. He doesn't even know his function because this is not his function. Just after Jokai's statement, the minister of labor came out. So there's a serious problem with the structure of the government in terms of the CSC, the Minister of Labor, as to where are they getting the tax fund to give to the people. Now, I do know the statutory responsibility of the Labor Ministry is to collect labor-related issue in the country. Now, and that's why the Labor Ministry is that we have labor standards. That's one. We have the Deputy Minister for Manpower and Labor Standards. Manpower, Human Rights and Labor Standards. We do have the Assistant Minister for Labor. We have the Assistant Minister for Trade Union Affairs. And we also do have the Assistant Minister for Statistics. Now, those portfolios that are just named out, there are different sectors area within the Ministry of Labor that will coordinate all these things and report to the Minister of Labor. And onward in cabinet, the minister will now report to the president of the cabinet as to labor-related matters in the country. Then how come the man that is in charge of coordinating all government workers will leave that responsibility that you stay paying almost 60% of those people $100 that you committed that you push them out and lifting them from poverty and pushing them to the gap that they will earn a little money. You leave that responsibility and you put into something that you have no clue of whatsoever. And I don't know where he got his tax from. So that's part of the reason that's unfolding. So sometimes it's good to just sit and remain quiet, focus on what you're doing. Don't act like you try to grandstand here and do things and you market range the entire issue. So it's a difficult process we find ourselves in. And now that there's this personal issue unfolding in the country that the Minister of Labor said the CSA boss is incompetent. He doesn't understand the thing. So he tried to usurp my function and usurpation of function here. That is tantamount to undermine the very government of Liberia. And he's saying the president said that the people are good and not good. So we are waiting the result coming out of the executive marshal. I thought that was a slap in the face of the Liberian leader, something that some of us, our president, will not take lightly.
Thank you.
Would not take lightly.
Susan, we got 8 minutes, and we want you to do your closing, but I want you to address this. Everybody is trying to get the attention of the president, so they are coming with all kinds of schemes. I mean, why call auditor on yourself and say, come and audit me? I'm the best in Maryland County, first in history. I'm doing it. Audit me and all that. I mean, not only did he call for audit, but he called them to come from Monrovia. Not internal audit, but call Monrovia. The education minister said, you come and audit me. Just to get attention. I mean, some people said to get attention of the president to move him from Harper to Monrovia or something like that. Your closing, but address this in your closing.
Yeah, just attention seeking. I'm not going to say much on that, but I have 2 questions for all of you guys.
Okay.
My number 1 question here is that do they have a nursing board in Liberia where when you finish your degree you have to go through the nursing board before you practice?
Yes.
I've been
Absolutely, yes.
I know this because I'm very close to Model Patton. I got students there. I got a student that are a sponsor, and I work very closely with the Grand Bassa University. They have a great nursing program, and the nursing program had to go through some suspension from the board. because
So how frequent do they renew their registration? Do they all have a registration number? How frequent do they?
Of course, there's a
yes, they do.
comprehensive. I wouldn't say how they go through the administrative thing, but we'll be having a nursing board send the Pope as an auto board, right?
That's
So
correct. You're crossing over into Nambe area now. Gathering people.
No, because
send
I've
the
been
Pope as an auto
asking
board.
and nobody's been telling me anything really. Yeah, so I'm listening.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
Yeah.
we've been having a send the
true.
Pope as auto board. There's a
Because
procedure there.
the 5 students that are sponsored at Moro Patton, they sat for the study a lot. They sat for the nursing board to be RNs, and they did very well. They passed. And I look at all the nursing schools in the country, including TNI, MA, they all go through that. So they have a very stringent nursing board. Yes.
Yeah, and quickly, I'm not talking about other lessons, but we have some other nursing program around. And that's about the Mother Patent and the TNIMA program. These are part of the best program we have to train nurses in Liberia. And don't forget this, we have some very competent nurses, very competent nurses that are going through. But the TNIMA program is a rigorous program, even the Mother Patent. Mother Patent is a little expensive because it's private. The TNIMA is being subsidized by the government of Liberia. And then we also have the Dr. T College of Medicine, that is where they train people higher than nurses and other things. There we have some specialized doctors, both from the country and outside, will come and contribute. That we have now. The only thing we need to do is to build the capacity of these people that are graduating from the Dr. T College also, and build that capacity into specializing into different areas. But most of those people are the one that train. We just don't equip our hospitals and other things, but we have most part of the brightest of minds if you have. But yes, we do have the nursing board. The nursing board is there. Sometimes they get a little political, but they've been more or less very professional in executing their line. They've been there ever since when the Pope was there. Yeah,
very, very good, because I recruited some nurses from here, from the university. They went down to Liberia and did some work, and they did a great job, and those kids passed the nursing board. So yeah, they have a very stringent nursing board. Now, I'm not talking about people who fake to be nurses or doctors. They got fake doctors and nurses out there. They all didn't go through that process. But yeah, they do have an excellent nursing board system.
Yeah, so we have some good nurses and good PAs and other things in the country. Yes.
Question.
At least my mind is clear. And the second question here is with Chairman Musa be at the program on Saturday, the CMC program, because we heard that his visa was restricted. This is for the CNC members.
Well, that's not
Revoke or restricted, whatever it is.
So before
go ahead, Mr. Pewee, because that's your area.
Come in, you know, politics, Susan, and you one of those also. Sometimes you will come out and say things, and you be challenged, right? And you want to, so you think CNC player, you want to hit and turn it on and throw. Let's take this time to clarify this point. I'm coming. 1 minute.
I mean, Martin did a whole post, and
No,
you guys
don't
have a
listen to. And I
program
said this
that
to you, right?
we're looking forward to the program. I'm looking forward to it. I wish I was in America to it.
We're coming to Australia.
Don't listen to what Martin will say. And most time, you guys on social media that do most of the posting and all of things, you guys will come up with a lot of things that are erroneous. And so people, I don't let them go by that. And that's why sometimes some will take time, because we believe in the sufficiency of the evidence we push out, so we don't worry on posting some things. You know, that's why I was jokingly asking yesterday, I said, because Martin will say something, many of the time he will say things that are inaccurate. Right, and yourself will say some things that are inaccurate so many times, right? Sometimes you will get it right and you get it wrong. So yeah, there's no visa revoked, nothing whatsoever. That it had never been the case. That was just based on speculations. It was based on people mindset that other people are coming somewhere. If I didn't go there, that means I got a problem. No, there's nothing whatsoever. Mr. Benedict being in good line, moving forward, and all these things that he did in the country have been in line. He have never gotten in trouble. He been here and other things, so I don't think she left.
I think we lost her. Oh,
she's back. So I don't think there's anything on the issue.
Sorry, somebody just called.
Yes. The call is still coming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all about more question about the visa. But go ahead.
So the process, my dear sister, is that there's no problem whatsoever about coming. Now, at the appropriate time, the political leader, because now he is the political leader, and the major problem we have in the country is basically to focus on the tremendous situation of there are hundreds of issues that are unfolding globally, both nationally. There's some constraint on other things, so he cannot be all over at the same time. So that's the reason why we have folks that are designated to deputize him while he cannot be available. Now we have people like Jerome Gaiman, right? A very vast, seasoned, well-rounded, a consummate negotiator and politician.
All real man.
That been part of LESU. And then we also have Mr. Victor Nambe. Mr. Victor Nambe, a very seasoned and well-rounded politician that gave birth to multi-partyism, political pluralism, right? These are people that brought a thought process to
and Mr. Sylvester Pewee and others, don't you?
Yes, I'm coming back to myself. So you see those things, right? People that come to be, and part of the reason today you can be on social media, everybody finally you get on the expression, people respect you, is because of what the people did before. And then myself here, right? Here as your homo servant to do the job on behalf of the political leader. Now, if we have our political leader attending all the program, where the essence of having a political institutions that should be independent of political influence of those that are up there. No, there will have to be a shared responsibility. And part of the shared responsibility will speak to the process of a balanced political institutions that would respect you, void of what in your pocket, void of what influence you have, but it's going to be what we call political participation. So he's going to allow people that are here to perform their tasks. Whenever there's a national call, globally, where everybody will converge, the conversion of everybody now will require his presence as the leader, then those kind of a thing will happen. But there's no trouble. There have been no trouble smelling. There will be nothing coming up because he's been one person that has been operating in conformity with international jurisprudence and the respect for other people.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Sylvester, and thank you, Susan, for raising that question. But I gotta go. I got a meeting.
Yes,
so
yes. Gentlemen, it's 8:01. It's 1 o'clock in Liberia. The young man has to go. We thank you very much for coming. Let's do this again tomorrow. Myean, we thank you for staying up for this late. I know the weather is bad. Please be safe out there. If you're riding a bike, wear your helmet. If you're riding your keke, hold on tight. If you're riding a taxi, make sure you sit in the back. Don't let anybody sit behind you. Don't let anybody sit behind you. Don't let them choke you. So make sure that you are safe going home. God bless.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay, Mr. Clement. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.